going on, everyone? And welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of the Leafs Line Podcast. I am your host, Russo, and joining me for this lovely, and I'm hoping a positive episode of the Leafs Line Podcast is none other than Jared Rottenberg, Evan Davis, and Adamo Romoli. We got a lot of things to unpack, including lots of love for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. What is there not to love about this Toronto Maple Leafs team? Maybe Adamo will pick one out because, you know, he's pretty good at looking at the other side of the coin, but lots of things to love about this team. We're also going to get to Brady Tkachuk, his incident with Lemieux. It just came released earlier that I believe Lemieux got a 5-game suspension. And yeah, so we'll be getting into that. Montreal, they cleaned house over this past week, and Bergevin is finally out the door. They're in search of a general manager. It's going to be interesting to see what they do and where they go from here. And I'm sure you guys will have some answers for me and for the fans as well of this show. Also, who is the best team in Canada? I mean, this Leafs team is pretty hot. 12 wins, I believe 12 wins in their last 14 is the stat there. 2 losses in the month of November, their best month in franchise history. I mean, who is the best team in the National Hockey League? You got the Calgary Flames. They've been extremely hot. You got the Edmonton Oilers. They're pretty much carried by that dynamic duo, McDavid and Draisaitl. But which team ranks amongst the top? We'll be getting our answers in near the end of the show. And finally, some huge news broke out today. Jack Hughes signing a massive 8-year, $8 million per year deal. We'll be dissecting that deal. And also this Washington-Florida game. We just finished watching it, and man, what a contest. Florida completing the 4-1 comeback. In regulation, nonetheless, the Cats are rolling, and they take down what is a dominant Washington Capitals side. We'll be getting into that as well, just before we enter the trivia segment on the show. Everyone's favorite, my favorite, but we'll start with the favorite segment of them all. The beautiful introduction that is provided to from Jared Rottenberg to me about superheroes and how fitting is it for the Toronto Maple Leafs who have been carried by such heroic performances. I got to ask you guys, what super ability would you go with if you had to choose from one, and why? Jared, kick us off. You're the one who made the momentum going.
To be honest, I thought of the question because it's just such a classic question. I don't even know what my answer would be. There's something about flying, so I'd say probably something to do with that. But I don't know if it's actually the most effective power if I were to be a superhero. I don't really know what benefit flying is going to do other than making it a fun trip around town. But I don't know. There's something about that. I don't think you could go wrong with flying, or maybe teleportation. That's a pretty good one. Just go anywhere I want on Earth. That would be pretty cool.
What about you, Adamo? What do you got lined up for the superpower?
I'd say, it's a really tough question. I never know how to answer it. I think I'm going to go with invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I could literally do whatever I want.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty cool. But
powers in your hands.
You know what I mean? I could become invisible. That'd be cool. Exactly. Even like Jared said, teleportation. That's pretty cool. Mind reading. I mean, that'd probably not be the one I'd go with, but that's pretty cool. So yeah, invisibility.
And Evan, what about you, man? With great power comes great responsibility.
I don't know. With this LA traffic, I would probably take flying just so I don't have to just sit in the car all the time. I wouldn't mind flying around town. And it's also like you're in such a diverse city with a lot of interesting spots around town that I probably haven't even seen before just because it takes too long to get there. So I think that'd be pretty cool.
And just to touch upon that LA traffic, or I guess it's mostly California traffic, you, I believe, went to the Anaheim Ducks game, that 5-1 victory for the Toronto Maple Leafs. How was it, man? We were talking about it on the pre-show. Not a lot of fans in Anaheim. What was the traffic like, first of all? And then the game itself?
Took one of the 10 people in there.
Yeah, it took an hour to get there. And then, that's going to be to stop for gas on the way there. So it was about a 40-minute drive. I don't know how anybody signs there. It's so bad. There's no fan. There's no atmosphere. Dude, Leafs games, I would kill for that. Even the businessmen are more engaged. And it's tough. It was a Sunday 5:00 game. So, most people are watching football. But like I said before, if you're not from – it reminds me of Ottawa. If you're not from Anaheim, it's so tough being – a Ducks fan because it took 40 minutes to get back home too, and that was at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and it's just go Leafs, man. It was a great game. I'm just happy they beat the Ducks.
We converted him. Let's go.
Just for the night. Anytime anytime they can beat the Ducks or any team beats the Ducks, I'll root for you. You have my blessings.
Well, if I had to choose one superpower out of the bunch, it would be to stop time, because, I mean, you can do whatever you want when time is irrelevant. Go to as many things as you like to see. However, can't really see them because the time is stopped. But I would love to stop time. Just more moments on this world, I guess, and more moments seeing this Toronto Maple Leafs team in full swing, because it looks like time doesn't stop for this group. Last time we met, we outlined what the Leafs had to do in order to have a successful California road trip. And man, boys, we hit it on the head. I got to give it to us. Let's pump our own tires here, give ourselves a pat on the back. We all said the main message.
Steal my line?
Well, of course I stole your line. I had to. And anyways, the main message last week that we outlined for this Toronto Maple Leafs team, what they had to do against this California trio, to get the ball rolling for the offense. You need to have an explosive game or a series of explosive games to start getting these boys going. At that time when we were discussing it, they did sit dead last in 5-on-5 production. We even gave up the stat in last week's episode. And well, just a week later, Leafs Nation, it's in jubilation. Like, this team sweeps the West Coast. LA 6-2 score is your final. San Jose 4-1 victory. Anaheim 5-1, the game that you saw with absolutely no fans or no energy in the stands. And they set a franchise record straight with 7 straight road wins. They outscored their opponents 18-4 on the trip and never trailed once. So guys, I really don't want to ask you guys about your thoughts on the trip, because I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of similar answers, because there's not much to say of just how much success we've seen from all aspects of the ice with this Toronto Maple Leafs team. But I'm going to ask you guys, what is the identity of this team? What were your thoughts in the comments that we saw after that Ducks game, after the road trip sort of came to be? I mean, I come to Kerfoot's comment comes to mind following the game, where he's like, everyone's just buying in. You could say, well, why weren't they buying in before? Isn't this what a Stanley Cup aspiration winning team wants to do? The fact that we're seeing that now, it just shows the maturity of this group. So do you guys see these guys being a bit more mature over this road trip? And what does it mean identity wise for this club? Evan, I'll start with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll pull in a demo here and try to find the crappy part of this. But look, the California road trip isn't what it used to be. Like, the teams aren't as good anymore. Like, if they had swept the California road trip, let's say 2015, 2016, I totally get, like, that would be a huge, oh my God, huge motivational boost. To be fair, the Ducks have been trending in the wrong direction these last few games, and the Kings went on a 6-game winning streak, and just like the Kings, then they went on a 7-game losing streak. So they have also been trending in the wrong direction, and the Sharks have problems of their own. But, I do like the comments after the game. God, Leafs Twitter absolutely destroyed the Ducks. That was some cyberbullying. Like, my God, just absolutely brutal. Like, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. But look, they hadn't scored, I believe it was 6 goals in a game, and they finally did it against LA. What I said before, like, if you're going to win, like, dominate, like, beat up on the crappy teams. And that's exactly what they did. They stomped LA, which I knew would happen because they were just trending in the wrong direction. And the Ducks, although they got off to like a semi-hot start, like, they weren't winning games, but they also like weren't losing by a lot, but they have been bad. So I think it's great. Just consistency is the name of the game for the Leafs.
And just like, you're absolutely right. Like, no strong teams. If this was 2015, 2014, Getzlaf, Corey Perry are going off a perk, and they're just potting goals left, right, and center in the back of your net, and you're beating those teams, yeah, you got to give yourself a big pat on the back. That's a huge deal. But now these California teams, though they started off really hot, have absolutely cooled down, in this Leafs series that they played against them is just another attest to that. But the reason why I'm going towards the mature side of it is because we don't usually see the Maple Leafs coming in to not just California, but teams that are sort of trending in the wrong direction and starting to blow leads or starting to lose games, drop games that they should win. They didn't look back in this series whatsoever. So I think that shows a little bit more maturity on that side. They went in, like you said, Evan, got the job done, and got it done by a wide margin. Jared, do you have anything to comment on the identity, the comments that this team made, and maybe even some of that treacherous Leafs Twitter that they were handling against the Anaheim Ducks?
Well, I love the comments that we saw after the game, because very much what the team was saying was, whereas last year they were very much happy. Yeah, we're a first place hockey team and they were all great. Like, the mindset around this team right now is very much, the job isn't done. We aren't satisfied. We haven't achieved what we want to achieve. So it's like, they're obviously proud of themselves. They're doing great right now. But everyone kind of has this shared mentality of, we know what happened last year, despite how good our regular season was. So everyone very much is like, nope, we have to keep working. This wasn't a vacation, was the big tweet message that I saw. is it wasn't a vacation. We came in, it was a business trip. We got the job done. So I just loved what I was hearing from everyone around the team, where everyone is kind of now, it seems like they've completely bought into Keith's system. They've completely bought into the group that they have. And overall, it was just a very good mindset that the team is kind of adopted now, where it's like, we know that just having a good regular season doesn't exactly mean anything come playoffs. So everyone very much says, no, right now we're playing the right way, but there's still a lot more work we have to do. And that is something that as a fan, obviously we don't know how it's going to translate into the playoffs. So that's something that makes me very positive. Then as well, I mean, on Twitter, Leafs fans were loving it. Right now, we came off of our hottest month that we've ever had in franchise history, over 100 years of franchise history. So that's huge. 12-2 month, obviously 12 wins in 14 games. And Leafs fans were loving it. All over Twitter memes were being made. I wish I could pull them up. I don't even know if it's gonna work. I have a million saved on my phone, but I just don't think they're gonna work if I hold it up to the camera. But yeah, every meme, it would just be like a player's face and some kind of caption ripping on the opponent. It's like, I saw one where obviously, so Austin Matthews had this moment where he was mic'd up and Jason Spezza scored a big goal. So he made this very shocked face. I saw a bunch of memes using that face of Austin Matthews, the shocked at how shit your team is. So there's a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, the team is loving it. The fans are loving it. But at the same time, I see a pretty shared mindset of the job isn't done. We have to keep working at it. And I'm just loving what I'm seeing from this team right now.
Absolutely. And it's a huge positive to see from this group. So many positives to take from this group. I don't know, Adama, do you side with the maturity of this group? Do you still need to see more? Is there still something more to prove? And let's put playoffs aside, because yes, that is the big thing to prove. But judging like right now, what we've seen, is there anything that's taken your eye, and is the maturity here, or is there still ways to go?
Okay, well, I was actually thinking of what I was going to say beforehand. So let me quickly say that.
Yeah,
Jared, who was the first person to congratulate Sean Durzi on his first NHL goal? Do you remember?
I don't actually know, but I'm going to guess Jack Campbell, because that just seems like something you would do.
No, crap. It's not coming up. What time did I make this tweet? It was at 10 o'clock.
You're right. I responded to you, actually. You did say that. You're right.
I was driving around Staples Center when Durzi scored, and a bunch of fans were like, "Oh my God, we just missed it."
Yeah, basically, I sent out a tweet at like 10 o'clock before the Kings game, and it literally says, word for word, "Congratulations, Sean Durzi, on your first NHL goal." And he promptly gets 2 points. But to continue on what you were saying about the maturity thing, I don't put any value into, I think what you said, Kerfoot
Mm-hmm.
said, just because as like, even as a kid growing up, it was all, oh, you guys got to buy in. Everyone buys in. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like when the term buy in doesn't really mean much to me. I remember a couple nights ago, JT Miller and who was it? Bo Horvat were talking about, is this team buying in? And I think you have to buy in to be an NHL player, just because, you know.
What do you want? What do you want Miller to say on that?
Oh, like, I know.
No, this team's in the fucking dump.
Yeah, that was something else. But I'm just saying, like, the term buy-in doesn't mean much, but you can definitely tell on the ice they look, I guess, a little bit more mature. Their identities kind of become, let's score some goals and Jack Campbell. Look, those two things are our identity. Like, the team defense is meh. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. What is great is having 2 top 5 goalies in save percentage right now. Like, and like goals against average. They're both below 2. It's ridiculous. Going back to what we said last episode, I think what I said was kick the California team's asses. It's exactly what they did. Jack Campbell, you want to be a part of USA? Go show up John Gibson. Gibson gives up 5. Campbell gives up 1.
4.
1.
No, I'm saying Gibson gave
4.
up 4.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I guess that
Yeah,
we'll call it 4. Yeah, he gave 4. I was gonna say don't count the Simmons one, but no, he scored on him. So yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with this Leafs team. I gotta say, they've converted me. I'm a believer now. I'm a believer that this team is a contender. I still don't think they're a playoff lock as much as they've been really good. They're riding a ridiculous shooting percentage right now that's bound to regress, but I'm a believer this is a very good hockey team now.
He's a believer. I don't think I've ever thought I'd hear the words on this podcast live, but here we are. He believes in the group. The team's playing strong. And man, we got to give credit to them. Like, let's live on the high, because I know one time in the season, I was telling it to a bunch of my buddies, as the season goes on, we're going to hit a bunch of lows. They're due for their licks in a couple of months, and we're going to see it at probably the worst time. But let's enjoy what we got right now, and let's enjoy what Jack Campbell is bringing us, because I want to ask you guys this very quickly, maybe a yes or no score. If the Olympics do go on, I know it's in a bit of turmoil right now. There's a lot of things going on in the world, and the Olympics is not really the most important one of them all. But if the NHL does decide to go through with the Olympics, who's going in net? Campbell or Gibson? In that Sunday night's contest, settle the score. Adamo, I'll go with you, and then I'll switch it over to Evan.
How do you not take Jack Campbell? I don't know if any of you guys are going to say it. If say not Jack Campbell. If you are going to say no to Jack Campbell, I want you to make an argument as to why Jack Campbell shouldn't be on Team USA. He's the best goal. He's the Vezina winner this year. End of discussion.
Well, at this moment in time.
At this moment.
Yes.
It's looking
yes.
like.
Yes. Full stop. If the NHL season, if friggin' COVID-13 happened and they said, yo, season's done, he is the Vezina winner. Full stop. So, yeah, he's on Team USA.
But what
over Gibson too.
What worries me most is that it's like he's head and shoulders over whoever's next. Like, it's not even close, the other competition. He is having a terrific season. You wouldn't have thought, like last season where we had that, I think, 11-win streak, something like that, where he broke the franchise record. You think that was the best we'd seen out of Jack Campbell. He just fade. We all know what kind of career he's had. He's always been stuck in the minors. Now it's his first ever consistent year he put together. It's been nothing like that. He's been getting wins after wins after wins. Cool, calm, collective. Insert goalie metaphor here. He's been doing it all. And I think right now he's a clear lock for the Vezina. I think he's a clear lock for Team USA if they go there. And I don't know, Evan, are you going to disagree here, or you got something else for your?
I'm just trying to think of goalies. So I know like Connor Hellebuyck is obviously a surefire lock. I'm just trying to think of other U.S. goalies that
Gibson and Demko.
Spencer Knight, there's talk about, just for to have a young guy there.
For fuck's sakes, Spencer.
No,
I want to rant about this.
Never mind. But okay, so I think the two locks, I think the two locks should be Connor Hellebuyck and Thatcher Demko, and then I think Jack Campbell should be the third, because I think Demko has been, as I know, like the stats aren't showing it, but Thatcher Demko has really saved the Vancouver Canucks from a lot more blunder than, if you've seen some of the games where he's made some very key saves to even let them have a win. Like, I think he's proven to be better over time right now than Jack Campbell is. I'm not saying that Jack Campbell isn't going. I'm just saying, I think on this depth chart, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of GMs had Demko over Jack Campbell.
Oh, you raised a terrific point. And I mean, I disagree. I still think Jack Campbell's going to play throughout the season as he is right now. Not like as crazy, but he's still going to put up similar numbers. But you got to look at Thatcher Demko's resume. I think right now it's looking a little more. Remember Allmark when he was in Buffalo, how he was just not stealing games, but putting up a couple wins that he shouldn't have won. The Buffalo Sabres have no business being in that game, and he's being the leader that he is in net. I think that is something that we're seeing right now with Thatcher Demko, the Dem Show, as a lot of people call it. I love him. He's a terrific goaltender. I watched him. If you guys don't know, I've said it a bunch in the podcast. Vancouver is my side team that I usually root for. Obviously, it's not going well right now, but I really analyzed them in the playoff run a couple of years ago, and whenever they go far and how they're playing. Demko is a terrific goaltender, but I still think this year Jack Campbell, as of right now, and I don't want to throw in the records of the teams, the win records, because
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
They're evaluating.
Not at all. It's just a matter of who's the better goaltender at that time. I think Jack Campbell will be that one. Jared, what do you think?
Right now, Jack Campbell's the best goalie in the league, and he will be on Team USA. But the question initially was whether you're going to have Jack Campbell or John Gibson. Why not both? I think I like Connor Hellebuyck. I think he has to be a lock, regardless of how Winnipeg's doing. Like, Connor Hellebuyck is your Team USA goalie. But Jack Campbell, there's no reason to keep him off that team the way he's playing right now. And then I think you bring John Gibson as well. And then you could kind of rotate whether you want to play John Gibson or Jack Campbell. I think that top three is amazing. I know I have heard a lot of talk about the Spencer Knight thing, just because it's like, oh, you have in Steve Dangle, the word they use is the puppy, which the example they gave was like Marc-Andre Fleury was the quote unquote puppy that they brought on in 2010. Like sometimes you just bring a nice young goalie to kind of be a locker room guy, whatever. But the way that Jack Campbell's playing right now, there's no reason that you're passing a player like him aside to just bring this young kid over, just like to give him a good mental state. Like at the way he's playing right now, Jack Campbell, there's no reason to keep him off. I like John Gibson as well, and as much as he's with a struggling Ducks team, he probably should be on Team USA as well. I do get the conversation about Thatcher Demko. I know he's individually a great goalie, and he's made a couple saves, and he's done the best that he can to keep his team in it. But if you're going to call him the savior of the Canucks right now, well, he's not doing a very good job at saving the Canucks because they're just doing absolutely horrible.
Well, that's something like all he can do is stop.
I know you can't blame him purely, and that's not what I'm doing. But at the same time, if you're looking at the goalie to represent your country right now, is the goaltender on one of the worst teams in the league really where you should be looking? I don't know about that.
I think he's worth the crack a list, though. I don't think he's going to be starting.
He'll be on the big list.
Yep,
but
for sure.
At the end of the day, you probably have to narrow it down to 3.
Yep.
And I think Connor Hellebuck has to be a lock. If Jack Campbell continues the way he's playing, he's probably a lock as well. And then you only have a choice of one other goalie for that final spot, and it's going to be a conversation of John Gibson. It's going to be a conversation of Thatcher Demko. Maybe you look at a young goaltender as well, like a Spencer Knight. But there isn't too many names. Like at the end of the day, only one player is going to crack that spot, and it's probably going to be a toss-up between Demko and Gibson, and it's a matter of who at the time they make that list is playing better. So obviously we don't know who that's going to be in a few weeks' time, but I don't know. Right now, just the way that the Canucks are playing, yes, maybe you could look at his stats, but I just don't know if Thatcher Demko is the goalie that I'd pick to be on Team USA. Just he's on such a bad team, and I get it. He's doing the best that he can, but the team's absolutely in the dump right now.
And I mean, I think I was listening to Overdrive today. If you guys don't know, it's a great radio show. Definitely recommend you check it out. They were mentioning there was an interview with Mike Johnson. It's about why don't they bring the hottest goaltender in, just like not a starter or anything, but need be the hottest goaltender at that time and give him a shot. I think because we've seen it before in the Olympics where you give a guy who's hot the starting position for a little bit and he runs away with it and he's your saving grace in the tournament. So I don't think that's a bad idea either. I think it might even come down to that with all teams, especially the United States, because they have such a deep plethora of goaltenders to select from. And I think that wouldn't be a bad problem at all for them. And I really don't want to touch upon so much Olympic stuff now because I just wanted this to be a little bit more of a debate. And if you're going to find someone who doesn't have Campbell on that list, there's going to be a little bit of problem because Campbell must be on that list. No matter how he plays now or in the future, he's definitely given his resume and it shows that he can play with the big boys. And I think we're going to have a lot of Olympic coverage going forward. I can guarantee you that if it so does happen and comes to fruition, don't you worry, the Leafs line got you covered. We'll be getting all of that. And it's going to be an exciting time. I haven't seen, nor have any of us seen an Olympic Games for hockey since, I believe, 2014. Sochi was the last one that we saw. It was a terrific tournament.
Oh,
Nonetheless,
we were 12.
We were 12, man. I didn't have an idea if I was going to do a podcast. I wanted to be an electrician.
You know what a podcast was?
I didn't even know what a podcast was. I had no aspirations.
Back in the day when the iPhone 4 was.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We were rolling with the iPod shuffles. That's whatever. But I'm gonna shuffle my way over to this next question because I just want to ask you guys. This is probably the last question I'm going to spend on the Toronto Maple Leafs. How should we gauge the reaction meter? We've had a famous reaction meter on this show. Evan very perfectly put it in colors. Yellow is bad. Red is very bad. All that kind of stuff, if you remember. Where do we gauge the reaction meter for this Toronto Maple Leafs team? And how should Leafs Nation react? Are we overreacting through this hot streak? Are we underreacting? Or is the lack of playoff success playing a role in measuring and gauging where we should lie this meter? I don't know. It's been the topic for discussion within Leafs Nation. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it because it's a pretty interesting thing to talk about. It's hard to pick at this team when they're 12-2 in the month of November, best hockey they've been playing in franchise history. But is it just a fad? It's going to fade because they're not going to have this consistency for long. Or is the lack of playoff success from last season and seasons before just saying, all right, let's put the pedals on this. Let's pump the brakes. It's nothing crazy. Let's wait till they have it done in the postseason. Adam, I'll start with you.
Chill. I'm going to say chill, Leaf fans, just because we're not going to get Campbell's on 946 right now, the 1.6 goals against average throughout the entire season. we're not going to average, what are we? We're like something stupid in our last 14 games in terms of goals for per game and goals against per game. Like it's not sustainable to score 4 a game and give up 1 a game. So in terms of reaction, let's relax, because we're not like the second coming of Christ as a hockey team. But if so, what was the colors again? Do you want me to
Red,
rank?
like red is oh crap, green is like we vibing.
Green, reviving, have some fun. It's the regular season. Like I forgot who tweeted it, but they put it perfectly. This team could go like 82-0 and we would not care, because they're in the playoffs. So as much as like it's you have to analyze something, because hockey's hockey and we're here to entertain, but part of that is true. Like, we need to see it in the playoffs first and then we'll believe it. But the way they're playing, if this team didn't have a history of terrible playoff runs, the way they're playing right now suggests that this team is a serious Stanley Cup contender.
A juggernaut. That's probably the best word you could put it at. Yeah. Let's not put it there yet. But
CJ got grilled for that.
He did. No, but it's all coming together for this team, and that's the reason why Leafs Nation is in hysterics, because we haven't seen. Obviously, in franchise history, we haven't seen a month such like this with this amount of wins. We haven't seen this much success in recent years from this team. I was going to ask you guys, but I don't want to go too much on that tangent. Last year, we saw a bunch of success. It's not like success is unknown for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the regular season. It's in full swing. We're seeing it now. We saw it last year. I remember when they shut down the Edmonton Oilers back to back. McDavid and Draisaitl didn't record points in back to back games. That was probably the biggest success that I've ever seen from this Maple Leafs team. Probably the best hockey I've seen from this Maple Leafs team. This one tops it. This one takes the cake. And that's why I want to ask you guys, where should the reaction lie with this team? Jared, what do you have for me? Oh, Jared.
You're muted, bro.
Yeah, they're muted, or the mics.
You're muted or something.
I thought you fixed it.
Actually, this happens once, like every he's working. It happens like once every podcast.
Yeah.
Could you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah, we can hear. Is it your Zoom or is it your mic?
No,
it's my mic.
Oh,
it's
like
basically I
plug-in
have
thing.
this. I don't know if you can see it. Basically, I have this thing that all my cords are plugged into.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I just need to unplug it, plug it back in. It's weird, but whatever. Okay, so what I was saying a second ago is it is November, so we need to chill a little bit. I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, the question is, how are we doing right now? Right now, we're doing amazing. And if fans' reactions are what is happening right now, we have the right to be happy, because the way we're seeing the team play is very much a positive thing. So at the same time, it's like, yes, it's early in the season. We don't know what's going to happen in April. But you can't also in November be like, well, it's not April yet, so then don't watch. Like right now, we're doing well. Be happy that we're doing well right now. Don't go crazy that, because we're doing well in November, it's going to mean we're going to be amazing in April. We don't know. But the way we're playing right now, there's very much the reason to be positive. And Leafs fans have the right to celebrate their team. Not in a crazy way, not in a way like, we're for sure winning we're sure doing it, whatever. We don't know if we're going to do it. We don't know what's going to happen come the playoff time. Right now, things are going really well. And I think fans have the right to kind of celebrate that.
100%. And there hasn't been much in recent years for Leafs fans to celebrate. If there's anything I'm going to take from your points, Jared, is probably just for a Toronto Maple Leafs perspective and just a life perspective, just live in the moment. Let the team go. Let them have fun. You have fun watching this team. That's what they're here for. They're here to provide you good entertainment. That's what they've been doing. Evan, what do you make of the reaction meter, your famous reaction meter on this show? Where does it lie? Is it in the red, the vibe in green, or are we in the middle here with the yellow?
Well, I don't know. I think it's green, just because it's like, yeah, like they've been really hot as of late, and they're winning games that are very good come postseason time. They're winning the gritty 3-1, 2-1 games, and that's what you can hope for. And I said last time, like, they've already eclipsed the amount of one goal game wins that they had last season. They've already eclipsed that this season, so that's positivity for Sheldon Keefe and everyone. Obviously, you're not planning a parade anytime soon, and to your point, Adamo, I do think that there's still that Leafs slander, because we haven't seen that success in April, and because we constantly see we constantly see that success of the Leafs in the early months of the year, and then it kind of slows down, which is why it then leads to April blunders. So I do think, like, for now, though, just be happy that they're trending in the right direction, and that they're also, but like the main point is that they're winning games that are very crucial come playoff time, that they know that they have the confidence that if there is a tight game in the playoffs against whatever team, they know that they're capable of winning it. And I think that's the confidence that they lacked last year, where they were down 2-0, let's say, in game 7 to Montreal, and they just looked so defeated. Like, they looked like they had already gotten off the ice and started undressing their gear. Like, they didn't look like a team that was like, we can come back. And maybe that has to do with the fact that John Tavares wasn't there, so that, like, that voice wasn't there. But I don't know. I think they're fine now. What is it, like, laugh now, cry later? Who's
Drake?
Yeah,
Drake.
that's how
I think
I'll
that's
drop the mic. I'll end it on that.
I love it.
I don't actually know. I don't actually know the song. I think that's the song, though.
Yeah.
No, we'll keep it at whatever Evan says here. I have full faith in him.
Yeah.
But
trust the process.
We'll trust the process. But just to end off this Leafs talk here, and it was a terrific discussion. Finally, we have something to praise about with this Maple Leafs team, and some good positive notes on that. All I want to say is just use the play in November as a stepping stone to what we're going to see to come. Jared, you mentioned how November hockey doesn't matter at all in April. Well, no, it doesn't matter, but it still plays a role in how you get there. It's sort of like a path that you have to follow to get towards that. And right now they're zooming on that path. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's nothing much to not love about this team. I think right now we're seeing a little bit more maturity. I think I'm going to stand by that. I love the comments that I saw throughout this road trip. I don't think I've ever seen it come from a player, which is in the same time sad as it is, concerning as it is surprising. But I love what I'm seeing from the group inside, internally, and on the ice. They're playing the full 60 minutes, which I love. We haven't seen that too often in recent years. They're finding different ways to win. They could play that shutdown game, like you mentioned, Evan. They finally broke, or not finally, but they surpassed their previous streak of how many games they won. So they're playing that kind of style. They could blow out teams that they have to beat. There's that kind of style. They're doing everything that we're asking of them. And one team comes to mind, and this might be a big mic drop to you guys. Team that did that last year and the year before, Tampa Bay Lightning. They had a very good run all season, and one step that the Leafs haven't beaten yet, and let's pump the tires on it, they did all that in the playoffs as well. So if the Maple Leafs can continue doing it in the regular season, transfer it in April. I know we're having this conversation at the end of November, so I think it'll definitely change by the time we get to the springtime, but just stepping stones towards what can potentially be Leafs Nation. Let's keep it at that. And I want to transition to this big one here, this topic that I'm sure is going to be causing some havoc. Saturday night's festivities got greatly overshadowed by an event in hockey that is both uncommon and what we could argue as inappropriate. We don't see it very often. We shouldn't ever see it ever again. But in Ottawa's 4-2 loss to the LA Kings, captain Brady Tkachuk appeared, and obviously he did get bit by Brendan Lemieux. And you heard me right. He got bit by another hockey player during a scrum that saw Brady's hand. He was hungry. He's hungry. He's a hungry
he
hockey
fucking
player.
bit him.
He bit him.
Brady put it.
Yep. And he following the match, Brady obviously took exception to the comments, and he told media his thoughts on it as well as Lemieux as a player. I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm sure if you've been paying any attention or you haven't been living under a rock, you would know what he said. And the term that comes to mind very fast is that if you're going on the other side of the tracks here, you're an absolute brickhead, as he put it. So, so Brady had his own comments. He obviously got backed by his brother, which is no surprise there. And Brady, well, tell us how you really feel, Matt, because he went off on Lemieux. So today, Lemieux, he had an in-person hearing, and just before we hopped on, the final verdict got achieved. It was 5-game suspension, I believe. Am I correct?
Yeah, so that's the minimum you can receive for an in-person hearing.
Yep. So we got the 5 games. A lot of people, I was watching the TSN broadcast today. A lot of guys were saying 10 games. Give him the full 10. You have to get this out of the league. And I totally agree. The 10 is valid because you don't ever want to see this happen again, and nor should it. It's pretty inappropriate. I don't see a point to it. And even though a guy's hands are in your face forever throughout a scrum, there's no reason why you should go and munch his fingers off. So I think the 5 games, I don't know. I'll turn it over to you guys before I give my thoughts. And just so you guys know, fans be aware, I hate the Tkachuk family. I hate the father, the way he played. I hate the brother, Matthew, the way he plays. And Brady, I also hate him. So I hate the whole family. I don't like them at all. Very, very big on that. So I'll try to put my bias aside and let you guys talk. What are your thoughts on the incident? And was the verdicts not necessary, but was it the right? Did they get the right call on this? I know the NHL, their office sort of messes up, drops the ball on a lot of these things. Did they do it this time? Adama, what do you got?
I'd like to first touch on Brady's comments. I thought they were hilarious. The big thing that I guess like the biggest like offensive thing you could say in hockey is calling someone a bad guy. You know, he's a bad guy, he's a bad teammate. And I just found it hilarious that's what people were overreacting to. That was what like literally what people like were most not mad at, but like most I guess shocked at how offensive it was getting called a bad guy. So I just found that hilarious. In terms of the 5 games, I think that's fine. I think 5 games is fine. Did you guys see what Marchand did?
The slew foot?
Yeah, the slew foot.
The slew foot. If the slew foot is probably worth more. So good job, I guess. 5 games, it probably could have been more. But I know this isn't about the slew foot, but I'm just like comparing something that just happened recently. They value biting someone worse than a slew foot. And let me tell you, as a hockey player who's seen some stuff and has slew-footed someone and been slew-footed, I'll fully admit to it. It's extremely dangerous and it should be out of the game as well. So the 5 games for Lemieux is more than justified, I'd say. Probably could have been more as well.
And I mean, I don't like comparing it to the Marchand incident because it's like comparing apples and oranges. I think they're 2 different events. One that you really want to get out of the game, one that you should be getting out of the game. But even as the game evolves, it's still going to ever be there. Players have been brought up, and sadly, I hate to say that, but they've been brought up to do those kind of things. Marchand was one of them, and he said, "Oh, I changed my personality. I changed the way I play." Well, that's not going to stand in the way of what you've done in the past. The new person now is not going to take away what you've done previously. That's the reason why you're getting a 3-game suspension instead of in previous years, nothing at all, or maybe just a fine. Yeah. What you've done before, it's harder to gain reputation than to it's harder to get rid of a reputation than to gain one. And I think Marchand is in the same boat as that. And even maybe you want to throw in Lemieux's name as well, because this biting incident, I'm sure it's going to not come back to haunt him, but it's going to follow him around the league no matter where he goes. Everyone who sees the back of his jersey is going to say, "Oh, this guy did this guy did that." And the biting is something that has to be out of the game. I personally think he should have got a little more, because I think they just have to really establish that. This is a very rare thing, guys. Like, this is not going to happen. I don't think again this season. And if it does, I'll be amazed. But if you can nip it in the bud right now in November, when this player, he's not even a top player at that. He's a depth guy for the LA Kings. If you can get rid of this with this kind of player, I think you're doing a successful job if you're the NHL. But Evan, what did you make of the suspension, the events that transfolded on Saturday night? And what were your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I thought it was just stupid. But like, if I want to come to Lemieux's defense for a little bit, like, Brady Tkachuk's hand could not have been more in
that's what I was saying.
Brendan Lemieux's face. Like, are you like, I understand you're in a tussle and all that, but your hand is like right in his mouth, where it's just like,
you're asking for it.
Well, it's not that you're asking for it, but it's like, dude, it's not like he grabbed your hand physically and like bit it. Like, your hand could not have been, he could have picked brain with how far up his hand was in his face. Like, I didn't think it was, I don't think he should have had reacted that way. In terms of the 5 games, it's like, yeah, you knew right when the in-person hearing is made, the minimum is 5 games. So I thought, like, okay, he'll get 5 games. In terms of the comments, I think it was very unnecessary. I understand you're in the heat of the moment, so I get that, especially like being a player. Like, I would get, like, when you're just that rattled up and the heart rate's just pumping, like, you're going to say stuff that you might regret. And I don't like him saying that Brendan Lemieux isn't respected in the league and that nobody wants him on his team. I think that's when Jonathan Quick or like just someone on LA had to say something. I like that. You can't make those comments, especially now that you're wearing the C for Ottawa. Like, as the captain and as the leader of that team, it's not right. You can't make those comments. And I'm sure management had a talk with Brady Tkachuk, because those comments are just unacceptable, especially now that you're the face of the team. It's going to be interesting, though, because Calgary plays LA on Thursday. And although Brendan Lemieux won't be in the lineup, you damn know well, Tkachuk's going after anyone in a black and white uniform. And he already hates Doughty. So what's one more on the hit list?
Oh, don't forget Chrome on the uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Chrome domes?
Yeah, well, yeah, but should be interesting on Thursday to see who Tkachuk targets.
No, it's always interesting when the LA Kings meet up with the Flames. We already know the history between Doughty and Tkachuk, and
best bromance in the league.
Yeah, it is the best bromance in the league. And I mean, you mentioned a good point. I think me and Adamo were having this discussion very briefly via our group chat, right after the incident, where I kind of said, like, as a captain, those things, and they were hilarious. I'll give you that, Adamo. It was hilarious. Fun. It was hilarious.
I do think it was a little.
I do think it was hilarious as well.
But it was funny.
But as a captain, you're not really supposed to be saying stuff hilarious like that. You're supposed to be not saying it's hard, because I'm sure if any of us were going to be in that situation, like Evan said, when the adrenaline's pumping, you're in the heat of the moment, you're going to react the exact same way. And I know he's a young guy, he's going to learn, but again, any other captain, you're not going to see John Tavares is happening to him and he's going to be saying that. You're not going to see Sidney Crosby, this will happen to him, he's going to be saying that. Like it's totally different. I guess you could say, depending on who you're going to go to, but I don't know. I think that was wrong from Tkachuk. His comments, they could have been formed a little bit better, a little bit more professional, I guess you could say. There's a lack of professionalism there. They were hilarious. But again, if you're a captain, and I'm sure management did have a conversation with him following the game shortly thereafter, saying, listen, we understand where you're coming from, and you're totally, like, you're right in that situation, but let's pump the brakes a little bit and let's leave it at that. And Jared, I want to get your thoughts as well before we move on. I don't want to stay on this topic too long, because again, there's not much to dissect. It's very black and white. But
he bit a dude.
He bit a dude. He got suspended for it. Yes or no? Could it have been more? Should it have been less? I don't think it was going to be less, considering he had that 5-game minimum hearing today. It was in person, so it's minimum 5 games. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, I think you guys pretty much nailed everything. But yeah, it could have been more. It could have been a few more. But I think obviously 5 being the minimum, like, it doesn't surprise me that he ended up with 5 games. Like, I think that was a fair suspension. And as much as with Brady Tkachuk's comments on it, I absolutely agree. Like, you can't say that. You can't represent your team and be saying things like that. But like Evan was saying, in the heat of the moment, the man just got bit, and he's gonna kind of spout off. He's gonna be pissed. And as much as I agree, you definitely need to pull him aside and say, okay, you can't represent our team. You can't represent our crest. Wear the C for us, and then say stuff like that. So I'm sure he got talked to. But you can't exactly blame him. Like, he just got a bite mark taken out. And I didn't exactly see it, but I've heard from people that apparently there was like a little bit of blood.
There was a lot of bit of blood. He took a whole ass chomp. Like, you could see bite marks on his palm.
Okay, I saw the bite from like the camera angle, like from what was being filmed, but I didn't actually see a close up after. So I can't exactly talk. I'm more talking on what I've been told and what I've been seeing on Twitter. Apparently, I'm going to pull up, I don't even know if I want to pull up a picture of that, but like, I heard, there was blood and a huge bite mark. So there was no question. Like, Brendan Lemieux bit him. He was pissed and he spouted off. He took no time to sit on it. The media put a mic in front of his face and we're like, what are your thoughts on that? And he went ballistic. And one thing I want to mention is someone basically took the comments of Brady Tkachuk and got an actor, Gilbert Gottfried, to read it out. Hilarious. And I'm not gonna like play it or whatever, but in your free time, if you're listening to this, go on Twitter or go wherever, or just search it up on YouTube. Gilbert Gottfried reading the Tkachuk incident. It is the funniest thing ever. And the best part is he can't pronounce Tkachuk, so he goes like Tkachuk. It's so funny. He just reads the whole, and it's from someone who typed up what happened. So it's like some crazy thing, and then it's like Tkachuk said, and then it just goes more. He's a bad guy. It's hilarious. I don't know who saw that incident and was like, Gilbert Gottfried needs to get involved. I don't exactly know why that was the next course of action, but whatever. Yeah, crazy situation. Not exactly something I expected that would be happening a week ago. I wasn't last week sitting there like, oh, I can't wait till next week when we're going to be talking about a biting incident in the NHL. That isn't exactly something you see every day. But whatever, it was stupid. I'm sure Brendan Lemieux, he's going to say it was stupid and he's going to say he regretted it, or if not, he better fucking say something about that. Like, yo, I didn't I shouldn't have bit you. That was my bad. He better have some kind of apology ready, because that's just not acceptable in the National Hockey League or at any level. That's something maybe I'd do when I was 5 or 6 years old, let alone a grown man in the most like professional national league in the world. So yeah, just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, I really wouldn't not have expected to be talking about this on this week's podcast, a player biting another player. For it being at Tkachuk, I mean, I don't know. I don't never like the guy, but again, I never like to see this kind of stuff in the game at all. And I mean, Tkachuk handling it in Tkachuk fashion. It's and it was hilarious. If you have to, please check that out. What Jared was talking about, it is comedy gold. Just hearing him say the last name itself is funny enough. But again, I wasn't expecting to talk about this. Him taking a bite out of Brady Tkachuk. So really unexpected, and I feel for Brady. He handled it not professionally, but in the heat of the moment. What is he supposed to do? And what I didn't or what many did expect to see very come shortly after, and over this past weekend, we did just see that the Montreal Canadiens, their season got a little bit more better or worse, depending on which way you view this sort of thing, the situation as that I'm about to get into. So this past weekend, you probably have heard the news. Montreal cleaned house, firing assistant GM Trevor Timmins, senior vice president Paul Wilson, and the biggest name of them all, Mark Bergevin. And shortly after the news broke, former Rangers GM Jeff Gorton was named the vice president of hockey operations. So before I get into what happened and how it unfolded, I want to ask you guys, was the yank of Bergevin too soon or long overdue? And within this ugly start to the season, I'm sure that plays a role in it as well. Evan, what do you got?
Well, I think it should have been done a while ago. I don't think Mark Bergevin really should have been there before the draft. I would go that far back to say that. And well, I think the one problem with Montreal, and in terms of like finding a general manager, is that they want someone who's bilingual. And that's a huge issue because there aren't a lot of GMs out there who can also speak French fluently. And I was having this conversation with my dad after Bergevin got fired, and we were saying how you need to pick one or the other in terms of who's going to be bilingual, whether that be the head coach or the GM. And I think, and now they're talking about like Danny Briere might be the GM of the team. Like, I think like you can't go in this direction where both need to be bilingual. Like, I know you want to respect the values, but that was just my little rant on that. I think it's great that they cleared house. I think it was something that needed to be done. And when you're starting off this horrendous, albeit Carey Price is out and so is Shea Weber, so you knew going in it wasn't going to be great, but they also haven't done anything to really improve in terms of like maybe even making a trade at the beginning, or, you know, just even firing the head coach, see what happens there. Like, it just seems very, just seems like a very unfortunate situation. Now Jeff Gorton signed a multi-year deal, so you expect him to be the GM in the future, but I think they really need to they need their fans to also understand that this is a business and that we can accommodate to you, but it can't be 100%.
And I think this firing, if you're going to want to take something else, if you want to look at a different angle of it, is that, and this is for all GMs across the National Hockey League, things move fast in the National Hockey League. It's nothing like you're not. They made it to the Stanley Cup final. I can't believe this still. They were in the Stanley Cup final against the Tampa Bay Lightning months ago. And that's probably one of the biggest successes they've had in recent years. And any team that would be able to do that goes to show how dedicated this team is. It also just goes to show how your previous success in prior years, no matter how great it is, maybe he could have won the Stanley Cup if they were to get there. This still ugly stretch of the season, people want to win now. It's NHL. It's a fast league, as we all know, fast players, fast pulls, fast yanks. It moves very quickly. And this just goes to show that we want to win now, want to win within this time frame that we're setting. And you're not the one getting it done. You had a good run last year. That doesn't mean many things to us right now. So you're getting at it here. And I think that's what they left it at. And just to go on to your point, Evan, and I was also thinking about this as well. And I really don't understand it. Why does it have to be a bilingual guy to be your GM? And I understand the values. They have to keep it. It's a heritage thing, but I mean, you're really sort of limiting the list of who you can hire. Patrick Waugh was mentioned. So many names were mentioned because of what their connections to the Montreal Canadiens, as well as their ability to from a French speaking background. So I think you're really limiting it, and I think you're limiting what your team's going to be doing in the future. That's why I think they brought in Jeff Gordon. He knows his hockey stuff. I was reading something, I'm sure maybe your dad told you, Evan, he knows just about everyone in the National Hockey League. His connections are through the roof. So his ability to be on the team, he has so many sources to go through, so many sources to go to. And I think that's just going to benefit the Montreal Canadiens as a whole. And I think he's going to be dealing more so with the trades around the trade deadline, the offseason, than whoever they're going to bring in. This is my take on it. I think the GM that they're going to bring in is going to end up being French and English speaking. And it's possibly going to be a poster boy, someone that brings back the reminiscence of the old Montreal Canadiens, that way that they played. And it's going to have a very little impact on what this team does in the near future. And I want to turn it over to you guys very quickly. Jared, what did you make of the sacking? Too soon? Was it too late? Does loyalty play a factor in what Bergevin did in the past? What were your thoughts on it?
Well, the first thing I wanted to mention is, didn't you call this? I think
I did.
Like
I
think a week or two into the season, I think you said by December 1st, Marc Bergevin will be gone. So I just want to say credit to you, pat on the back there. And then I wasn't sure if I was remembering wrong, but I did think I remembered you saying that. And in general, I think last May, or just last playoffs, really saved his job, because I think if they were to have been bounced in the first round, as they should have been, like his job, he would have been gone. He wouldn't have made it to the draft. Like Evan was saying, he thought he should have been gone by then. He wouldn't have made it to the draft because their team wasn't good. Their team was struggling. He wasn't really doing anything about it. And he very much, for years now, has made very questionable moves as GM. They kind of caught lightning in a bottle and made a miracle run all the way to the Stanley Cup final. It made him look good. It saved his job. It instantly bumped him into the GM of the year conversation, even though he did nothing to really deserve that. He just kind of, his team went far. Like, good for you. Well, not obviously good for you, but like, whatever. I'm salty. Let me be salty.
Jared's
and then very much people's thoughts on the Montreal Canadiens were they weren't a good team. They fluked. They made their way to the Stanley Cup final. Then that luckily saved his job, and you couldn't fire him after that, because it's like, okay, we just made it all the way far. Like, the team now has to believe, and the fans have to believe, that they're a lot closer than they actually are to getting it done. So, of course, it doesn't surprise me that he wasn't fired at that time. He did the draft. Of course, we know the Logan Mailloux situation. And then from there, the season started. Just everything was going wrong, left, right, and center. Of course, it's not entirely surprising. Carey Price he sat himself out for his own mental health reasons. And I believe there was... well, I don't want to get too into that, but it was just for his own well-being, he sat himself out. Shea Weber, of course, retired. Or he announced his retirement, right?
No, he didn't announce it, but it's pretty much there.
Okay. So I knew there was something along those lines. And then, just left, right, and center, just things weren't working out with the team, and it's now is the right time. I'm not going to say they should have done it earlier, as much as in an ideal situation, it would have happened last offseason, but it doesn't surprise me that it didn't, because, of course, that team was coming off of going all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and you can't just boot your guy out there because in their mind, they're close to winning a Stanley Cup. So it doesn't surprise me that it didn't happen. I think now the fact that they did it 2 months into the year was the right move. I wouldn't have really done it sooner, because it's still at this time of year, things change by a weekly basis, so I wouldn't have done it earlier. But I think now closing in on December was the right time to ultimately boot out Bergevin, boot out some guys in the front office, and now hopefully change things moving forward. I don't think the team is going to get much better. I think at this point they've pretty much committed to the tank. They very much want Shane Wright. I saw a funny picture, actually, who happens to be a guy who went to my high school. It was posted on Spit and Chicklets. It was posted on Bar Down, of a guy in a Habs jersey that took his Carey Price and taped it to make it a 51. So that guy, Evan Gelber, he went to my high school, so that's pretty funny. I wasn't very close with him, but that shout out to him, because that was kind of going a little bit viral. It seems everyone in that organization is kind of committed to this year's a bit of a write-off, and let's hopefully do well, get lucky in the draft lottery, and maybe from there they'll do something and use moving forward.
And I was going to ask you, I think you just kind of answered my question. My next one was, is the season done, and who's going to be the one picking up the pieces? Who's the leading candidates to get the job? I mentioned some French speaking ones that could become the poster boys and maybe make their way through and maybe move some pieces around. I don't know. Where do you sit on this team? I believe they are, last time I checked, I got it right here, 6, 16, and 2 on the season. So if you're going to make a playoff push, and again, I think this is extremely improbable, very low, you're going to have to win more than, you got what, 24 games played. You're going to have to win 40, for minimum 40 games in the season, and they haven't played that much of a tough schedule. They have had some games against easy opponents that they should beat, and they're getting crushed. This is not like they're losing games and you got to pick apart some little pieces. No, these are big fixes, big boots to fill. And who's going to be filling the boots, or sorry, the void for the Montreal Canadiens? And is their season, is it lost? Does this general manager who's going to come in soon have any reason to go for it now, or is it full, like you mentioned, Jared, tank for Shane Wright and call it at that? Evan, what do you got for guys that might possibly fill the role, and is the season lost?
I don't know. I haven't actually thought of guys who could fill the role, because I've only been thinking of French Canadian guys, since I know they're the only ones that are getting hired. I do think the season is lost, and I'm not saying that as a negative. I think now is the perfect time to actually rebuild what you have, because you still have two promising young rookies in Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. You can get a goaltender in free agency, once you can. I mean, I hope to God not, but if you do end up losing the contract of Carey Price and he decides to retire, then you have additional money to spend in order to make this team a success and go out and get a goalie, whether that be before the trade deadline or in free agency. And look, I think they're at a position now where there's no point in trying, because, like, if you're going to suck, you might as well suck. Like, there's no point in you competing and then you end up with the 10th pick when you could have just been minuscule all year and then end up with a top 5 lottery pick. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, if you're going to suck.
That was the discussion we were having last week, right? Like, if you're going to be a basement dweller, be a basement dweller. And I wouldn't say embrace it, but I would
say embrace it, because if you don't embrace it, then you're going to end up with a 10th to 15th pick. Right. And not saying that's not good, but obviously there's a reason they're available at 10 and 15.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I sort of pumped the brakes a bit on the embrace part is because you don't want to really project that onto your fan base, even though that's all that they're thinking. Like, I've talked to a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans, and I know a bunch of them, and I've heard a lot of things from them towards me being a Leafs fan, all that stuff. That's a whole different conversation, but they're just saying, like, we don't watch this team. We've given up. We don't tune into the games. We don't bother watching and seeing what they're doing. Just listen, tank. Let's get it out of the way, peel the bandage off as fast as you can, and let's keep it moving. Because again, they got some young talent here. Cole Caulfield, you named it, Evan. Nick Suzuki is I'd say top 10, 15 centerman in the National Hockey League. I don't know if I'm being a little too abrupt with that, but I think he's around there. He's making the money definitely to put him in that conversation. But you got a bunch of young stars, young guys that can play for you in the future. Don't waste it. Hold on to it and get another one to add to that total. And Adamo, I want to turn it over to you just to give you some time on the Montreal Canadiens, maybe even rip on them a little bit. But what was your thoughts on the sacking? And of course, is the season lost? Is this new general manager going to step in? And I'm sure it's going to be announced in the upcoming weeks, not even maybe sooner. Does he have a chance at resolving this, or should he even touch anything?
I want to touch on the like going a little bit further back here when Evan said that it doesn't make sense. They're hiring not French Canadian, but a French speaking general manager. The reason this doesn't, there's a couple reasons this doesn't make sense. One, Kyle Dubas speaks to the media maybe 3 times a year, maybe. Mm-hmm. Like, you hear him once when, like, in free agency, I guess once after the draft, and then maybe like once. I don't know. Like, I could be wrong, but I rarely hear from Kyle Dubas. So having a GM that speaks French, like, I get it. And I should also say, the GM should speak French. He should learn French. What they do in Europe, like a German coach will come over, say Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, or Thomas Tuchel. Those are, like, not English speaking guys, but they'll have translators and they'll learn English as they go. So why not bring in a guy and teach him how to speak French as they go? Just have a friggin' translator. It's not a big deal. They do it in Europe all the time. So having a French GM is one of the dumbest things. Having Danny Briere would be kind of cool, just because if there's one guy that will value skill over size, it's him, being a little guy. Of them. Yeah, like, and that's something I'm a firm believer in. Like, you don't need to be big nowadays to be an effective NHL player. So that's pure speculation. This guy could fully say, like, no, we need 6'4" guys, but I'm just total speculation. But to answer your question, is the season lost? Yeah, they suck, and like on paper they suck. They shouldn't be good, and they aren't good. So why like embrace the tank almost? I remember that Leaf season.
We knew what was
really
going
hard.
on. We
knew, and like everyone knew. Friggin' Colin Greening was like our leading scorer. He's not in the league. Fucking P.A. Parento.
Oh my
The
God.
Frenchman himself.
Yeah, we had like what? Didn't we have like Mason Raymond?
That power play line was elite though. Mason Raymond, P.A. Parento, Daniel Winnick.
Jesus Christ.
Winnick on the power play.
Like,
how desperate were they?
It was bad, but
we're going.
Look what we got. We got Austin Matthews. Like we go get Shane. Actually, don't get Shane, right? Because it's the Habs, and that would break my heart. Like I am a believer in if you're not gonna make the playoffs, suck. Like, Raptors, go get Chet Holmgren. What are we doing here? Trying to get the 10 seed just to be swept by the 1 seed. Go tank it. Like, I don't know who's bad in football. Go get whoever the first overall pick is. I know. Well, they're always bad. I should have just said the Lions. Go get whoever's going to go first. I don't know I don't even know who's supposed to go first overall this year.
I don't know. Football is such a
Theroux.
It's a matter of who's healthy by the end of the year.
I remember it was supposed to be like Spencer Rattler, and then he just fell off a cliff.
He's garbage.
With the Sooners. Yeah, he's kind of ass.
Enter the transfer portal.
That is a whole friggin' other thing. It's not a friggin' college football. Any of you guys follow college football?
I'm a huge college football guy.
You 10, 12 games a week with Notre Dame right now.
Yeah, they lost Kelly.
It's fucking killing me. They lost Kelly, and they're about to lose their offensive and defensive coordinator.
He's bringing them all back.
Did you see the incentives that he gets $500,000 for every bowl game that LSU goes to?
Yeah, college football is ridiculous how they pay.
But anyway, I went to the UCLA football game Saturday night against Cal, and it was that was like the most fun I've ever had. And like obviously it's not the same experience.
It's not like an SEC game, but still.
But no, like the UCLA football game was like one of the coolest football, and like you feel like you're at a high school game, and then you look around, you're like, oh my God, I'm at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Pasadena, baby.
Oh, that's huge. But yeah, I guess kind of tracking back to hockey, I forgot where we were. Oh yeah, just suck on purpose.
Yeah.
You know.
And the one thing I just want to bring up before we move into our next set of events here, I'm interested to see if there's and I think there will be a change in identity with this team. We all know, Jared, you talked about this a lot in previous episodes, and it's absolutely true. Where this team, it's they're going to squeeze into the playoffs, but once they get there, they're going to make some noise. The Montreal Canadiens have always been sort of known to do that. Last year was a big attest to that. New York Islanders is another one, and I don't know. I don't want to touch upon them and go on a rant on them because maybe we see a GM change there because they still can't get it together. Totally different problems on their end. But again, the Montreal Canadiens, are we going to see a different style into their game? You mentioned Adamo, more skill over size. It's been all size that they've been focusing on over the last couple of years under Bergevin. Now I'm wondering, was it the GM's perspective on it that sort of insulated that into the team, or was it the ownership? And is it just a Montreal Canadiens thing internally? I think that's an answer that we're going to have to wait and see how it gets answered with the new general manager. And I think it's just something to keep an eye on, put it on the back burner a little bit, see how it goes, just see how this thing pans out, because I think it's definitely an angle that not many people are looking at. It's getting a bit undermined, put in the dark a little bit, but let's just keep it fresh in the memory and see if it does turn out to come to fruition. We see more skill coming towards Montreal. And I think that's all I want to leave on the Montreal Canadiens. Not too much to add. Just if you're going to suck. And teams that aren't sucking right now, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of them, including our Toronto Maple Leafs. They're hot. The Edmonton Oilers, they've been hot this entire season to start off the year. The Calgary Flames coming out of nowhere, out of left field, and putting up together a terrific season top to bottom, and led from the back end. Markstrom, holy cow, you can't get any better than him. He is a shutout machine, posting donuts on the board almost every night, it seems. He is.
Tim Beebs on the board.
Tim Beebs on the board. Don't worry, I will get to Tim Beebs. We're getting there, man. We're getting there at the end. At the end.
Where are my Tim Beebs?
We'll send you some. They might melt. Anyways, some teams that are not going to be melting and are not cooling down anytime soon. Leafs, Edmonton Oilers, and the Calgary Flames. I gotta get your thoughts on this. Who's the best team in Canada? Let's throw out all the other ones. I don't even think they're in the discussion. Winnipeg, I'm sorry, but you've been falling off a little bit. And I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry. There's time. We still got time. They're a great team. Wait till Scheifele and Wheeler start getting going, and we'll see some real deal from this Jets team. They'll be soaring high. But I mean, we've seen the dominant play over this last month with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've had the Edmonton Oilers. I still believe they're being a little bit more carried on the top heavy kind of side of things, where you got McDavid and Draisaitl still running the show. Those are your two leading Hart Trophy winners right now, believe it or not. And you got the Calgary Flames. I'm seeing production from the defensive end. Klingington, I think his name is. He's been pretty hot. Chillington. Yes, he's been pretty hot. The forwards have been hot. They don't have a captain, mind you, and they're doing all this through different leaders on and off the ice. So, because obviously Giordano left, right? Yeah. So, and obviously what I mentioned off the top, they're being led from the back to out. Like the goaltending from even later too. He's been terrific. That goalie tandem has been so tight. Markstrom is continuing. He's finding his groove that he once was in the postseason in Vancouver. So everything's turning up for Vancouver. But I want to turn over to you guys. Which team is the best team in Canada, Adamo?
I'll rank them for you, and I'll give you my
Start with three.
Oh, three. Okay. We'll go Edmonton Oilers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames are the best team in Canada, and it's not me like being a Leaf hater because I'm mostly a Leaf fan.
He's a believer now,
and I'm a believer.
He's a believer.
I'm a believer and a believer. I think two things can be true. I think the Leafs are fucking awesome. I think they're one of the best teams in the league. And I think they're the second best team in Canada. And there's nothing wrong with that because Calgary Flames have been absolutely unreal. Like you said, the goaltending has been unreal. The defense has been unreal. That forward core, you have Johnny Gaudreau, he's back, baby.
He's finding his groove, Johnny Hockey, man.
He's so good. When
he's in a contract year.
Oh, yeah. When that guy is on, he is on. He's such a good player. He's so much fun to watch. Andrew Mangiapane,
Bolton boy, shut out right now. Bolton's finest. No, he's from Bolton. I met his mom. She taught me in school. I met him. I did a job for him in the summer. Gave me a handshake.
That is cool.
For him. We have chemistry. We got a vibe together. So I'm happy.
That is sick.
Happy for him. So
we vibed.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast, but I'll quickly share it just because.
Give a quick one.
It's a fucking podcast. I'm going to say it. Me and my dad, we'll go to my dad, my uncle, whatever. We'll go to Barrie Colts games like every year. That was like our OHL team right around Christmas time. And there was this one guy who, so at the Barrie Molson Center, it's called the Sadlon Center now for anyone in Barrie. They have like the team leaders, like their all-time shits. And you look up like Aaron Ekblad, Mark Scheifele, just a bunch of really good players. And above them all was Andrew Mangiapane. And I'm watching this guy, Andrew Mangiapane. I'm like, okay, he's really good. He's really good. And they were playing against the Kingston Frontenacs this one game. And Andrew Mangiapane lit it up. He went for like 4 points. But the big focus on that game, the big guy that everyone was there to see, was Lawson Krause. Because he was like a first round pick on the Kingston Frontenacs. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't believe it because I'm looking up Andrew. Who the fuck is this guy? He's unreal. He's dangling around everyone. And he's like a 6th round pick. I didn't understand why. And I still don't understand why. That was never answered to me. So he's a fantastic player. I love Andrew Mangiapane. But getting back to the Flames, I love the way the team's built. I think there was no better addition to this season than Blake Coleman, even though he has 6 points in 21 games. That's not what he was brought in to do. He was brought in to be a Daryl Sutter player, and he is Daryl Suttering the fuck up. It's been unreal. Sean Monahan's having a good little season. He's always kind of a consistent middle 6 center, and I just really like the way they're built. I think they've played the best this season. Not by a lot, but I think
it's fair. I think my rankings would just differ. I think the Leafs, and it's glaring in your face. That's why I wanted to ask you guys these questions, because Leafs are 10-2. I believe that number's correct. 12-2 in the month of November. So it's hard to say that the Leafs aren't the best team. I have to say they are, just because I still think they're a little bit more complete. It's hard to give the goalie one because like the Leafs are playing terrific. You said it yourself, Adamo. The Leafs, that 2 goalie tandem.
Oh, it's like I don't fault you.
It's very
the Leafs.
No, it's very close. And I think you guys are also going to side with this as well. Maybe even change up the order a bit. But again, Calgary Flames, they're a very valid team. I'm very happy to see them succeeding. Very happy to see my homeboy talent, Andrew Mangiapane, succeeding. he's making his case for Team Canada. He's getting paid. I think his contract year, if I'm not mistaken, is this year. He's going to get paid. He's cashing in.
I don't know if Team Canada's
he'll be in the discussion. He's got to be.
I genuinely think he's going to make that like that.
What more does he have to do?
Big roster. He's 15 goals in like 20 games.
Yeah, but you're not going to put him.
He's not. No, he's not going on there. But he's going to be.
He's going to be on that.
Extra.
You know, there's like a big like 70-man roster or something.
They'll
like
make a jersey for him.
50. I think 50.
They'll make a jersey for him.
They'll make the top 50. 100%.
And you know who's in? You know who's putting the last name on my Canada jersey I'm about to buy? Dama Romoli, Pro Hockey Life, stitching on the back. Manjapani on the back of my Canada jersey. Oh, I will if he gets on.
If he makes it.
Oh
yeah, come on over. I can get you a little discount.
But anyways, I digress. Jared, what do you got? Best teams in Canada, ranking them. You got the Calgary Flames to choose from. The Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously, glaring in your face with that 12-2 record this month. And, of course, the Edmonton Oilers, top-heavy offense, and the offense that never skips a beat.
Yeah, I don't blame Adamo for saying Calgary. I think it's very close, but I think I'm going to pick the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not even a bias thing. I think even with one more game played, the Leafs have 3 more wins than Calgary. And just looking at the roster, obviously – looking at something on paper isn't exactly what you see on the ice. But just looking at the players on Calgary's defensive core, I don't love it, to be honest. I don't think they have a very strong defensive core on paper. Obviously, you have guys like Shillington who are doing really well. Hannafin's actually having a solid season. But in general, I just don't love their defensive core. And as much as their top guys on Calgary right now are playing like top guys need to play, of course, you said Mangiapane's doing great. I have Johnny Gaudreau on one of my fantasy teams. Took a little bit of a risk taking him earlier than maybe he was projected to go. And right now that's working out great. Gaudreau's playing well. Monahan, I know you got bumped down to the third line, but I think he's doing solid. So in general, you have a good team there in Calgary. But I still think the Leafs are the best team in Canada. I mean, I hate to go back to last year, but Kings of the North.
Northern champions, baby.
Kings of the North, baby. North Division champions. No,
they were.
Like, I think the Leafs are the best team in Canada. Right now, the standings show they are, but as much as I don't care what the standings say in November, I think you even just look at the rosters on paper, and right now, the way they're playing, I think the Leafs are kind of proving that they are the best team, and they should be the best team. Obviously, they could have a bad month and they could have some blunders and whatever that'll bump them down in the standings. But I think at their best, the Leafs have the best players on their team and should be the best team in Canada. And right now they're playing like the best team in Canada. So if you want to rank my top 3, I'm not a big fan of how the Edmonton Oilers are built. So I'm going to put them in 3rd place. I think they have the best player in the world. They have a top 3 or 4 player in the world as well in Leon Draisaitl. They have their superstars, but they just aren't a deep team at all. I don't love their defense. I don't love their goaltending. So Edmonton, I'm going to put 3. Calgary, a big step above Edmonton, I'm going to put at 2. And then the Leafs, I am going to put number 1.
And I mean, the Flames, I personally, I don't know if you guys are going to disagree. I don't think they're just like a fad. They're just up there. They're going to fade. I think they're legit. I think they're legit. Not going to have this run, but they're going to be consistent. They're going to have more wins than losses by springtime. I think they're not a surefire pick for the playoffs, but I sure think they're going to be getting there. And it's just they're a fun team to watch. I don't know. It's the Pacific Division, right? So
can I throw?
I was just going to say they're in the Pacific and they're in the West, which right now is very much worse than the East. So I think there's a conversation that they could end up being the team to represent the West in the Cup final. Like. They're in a very I'm not saying that's my prediction, but I'm saying right now, the way it's looking, like they're in a very weak conference in a weak division. Like right now, it's pretty much night and day. The East is so much better than the West.
Yeah.
And yeah, Calgary is looking like one of the scariest teams out of that conference right now, which looking at my preseason predictions was not something I predicted. I thought Vancouver was going to be a lot better than Calgary if you look at the Canadian team.
Boy.
So yeah, right now, Calgary's really I don't want to say come out of nowhere because I know they have a good team, but they're doing really well and they're looking like one of the scariest teams out of the West right now.
Can I throw it a take?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll turn over to Evan just right after.
Yeah. Give me like just a quick take.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the Calgary Flames are more of a playoff lock than the Leafs.
Well, division
because of conference, yes.
Yeah, but you're comparing yin and yang. Like that's
it is kind of
talking about the Leafs being. We're talking about the Leafs being the best team in the league right now. Like I think I seriously think they're.
I don't think they're the best team.
I don't think they're the best team in the league either, but I think
they're playing
they're the best team
statistically, they are. They're tied for first. So
yeah, I know. I think that's gonna fall, but I still think they're gonna be by the end of the year. I think the Leafs are probably a top 5 team, but I don't think I'd pick them to be number 1.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's not as hot of a take, but like considering what we've seen from Calgary the last couple of years, just underperforming with such a talented roster, I think calling them a playoff lock is kind of bold, but I think they are a playoff lock. Does that make sense?
I think it's bold, but at the same time, you consider yes, it's early, but the way they're looking right now, they're looking like a scary team, so it's not as hot of a take. Yeah. And again, you have to look at the conference and the division they're in. They're in the weakest division, I'd say, in the whole league. I'd say the Pacific is the weakest division.
Holy cow.
Pretty much, yeah, like a no-brainer.
Take that, LA kid.
Like I said a second ago, I really don't like the West. I don't like the West right now. Like, there's very few teams in the West that are scaring me. And then you look at the East, and pretty much the entire Metropolitan, aside from a few teams, are scary teams, and the Atlantic as well. I mean, you have Boston that still has yet to heat up, and then Florida, Toronto, Tampa. Like, yeah. I think the East is so much stronger right now, and for that reason, I think Calgary's absolutely. I'm not going to use the word a lock because obviously we don't know what's going to happen. Still about
they could fully
60 games left, but they look like a lock.
They could start something for sure. Are you done? Evan, I'm going to turn over to you, man.
Yeah, go on.
Give us your rankings. Yeah, I would rank it as Toronto, Calgary, and Edmonton, and I don't know. I think by the end of the year, I might even go Toronto, Calgary, Winnipeg. I'm just not really a fan of Edmonton's goalie tandem. Mike Smith is old and injured, and Mikko Koskinen, as much as Edmonton's been winning games, he hasn't really been helping them out as you would like. I believe he's given up before the Vegas game, he had given up 15 goals in 5 games, which isn't the most ideal scenario to be in, especially when you want to win in such a I know that the Western Conference isn't as great, but you got to keep in mind, like, teams are injured right now. Like Vegas, once Jack Eichel gets there, and they also lost William Karlsson. So once he gets back, they'll definitely be back to their normal selves. They're also missing Alec Martinez on the back end. So that's also another huge loss for them. And then with the Avalanche, Nathan McKinnon returns tomorrow night versus Toronto. So the teams that you were expecting to be the powerhouses just haven't gotten there yet, but they'll definitely be there come April. So I don't obviously now, whatever, I don't really care about now. In terms of Calgary, I think Jacob Markstrom just needed time. It's hard last year. You're in a COVID year. A lot of people, I'm not saying that this is an excuse, but a lot of people's mental health was really affected by the fact that your whole life consists of when you're on the road, getting off the airplane, getting on the bus, getting into the hotel, and then you're not allowed to be with anyone, getting to the, you're just living a very robotic lifestyle where there's not a lot of interaction. When you're at home, you can't really interact with anyone because the fear of COVID. It's also just they have families. So I think he just needed some time, and with all the COVID protocols, missing games and all that, it was just a very weird year. It was also his first year in Calgary. So he needs to get adjusted to his team, especially being the goaltender. And when you've been in Vancouver for so long, running in that system, you kind of need to adapt. And sometimes it takes a year. So I'm not surprised by his success. In terms of the Leafs, we just talked about it for the past hour. They're good. They're rolling. I'm still not a fan of them playing Justin Hall over Travis Dermott and Timothy Liljegren. Oh. I don't he actually played really well against Anaheim. I'm not going to lie. He had a really good defensive game. He blocked a lot of shots, which is what you're hoping for. But they're just in a tough situation where, unfortunately, you can only play 6 defensemen. So they got to figure some things out. And that's how I would rank them. That's my story.
Just slice. No, you want to say something, Jared?
I just want to add one thing. I kind of completely, because we were talking about the top 3 right now in Canada being Edmonton, Calgary, and Toronto. So I forgot about the other teams. I'd actually put Winnipeg as the second best team in Canada. As much as they aren't doing well right now, I think I'd bump down Calgary.
Wait, did you say second?
Yeah, I'd put Calgary as 3rd, and I think
I wouldn't put Winnipeg.
A little too much dip on your chip, bro.
No,
I wouldn't.
I think like going into the year, for example, I know 2 months changes
They
things,
just got shut out by a nobody.
I don't care what's
Bro.
happening right now. I think in general, like by the end of the year, I think Winnipeg will be the second best.
Yeah, but look at the question, Jared. Look at the question.
I know. Well, right now I answered that it goes Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton. But I think by the end of the year, just looking at roster overall, I like Winnipeg.
I don't know.
better
Calgary's
than I like
hot, man. I really.
They're hot right now. In general,
No, they're
who's the
legit.
best in Canada?
But Daryl Sutter's a proven
No,
coach.
he's a great coach.
He
knows how to
hot.
win.
This is Calgary. They're not
Trust
hot.
me,
This isn't a hot streak.
Once Calgary gets into a blunder, you'll see TSN Instagram with a bag skate of Calgary. Like they don't want to lose because they're afraid of what's going to happen. I would put Winnipeg as far as 3. I'm really high on the Flames because I think their identity changed with Daryl Sutter.
I think I agree with that. I think Daryl Sutter's a great coach. I just think looking at like roster construction it's not about who's going to go the farthest. I think with a coach like that, I think the Flames may end up going the farthest out of those teams. But just roster wise, like looking at the players they have, I do like the Jets better.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's an opinion. It's an opinion.
Tough crowd.
Whatever. It's an opinion. I like the Winnipeg Jets a lot. I think Connor Hellebuyck, when he's on, he is one of the best goalies in the league. I think Scheifele still has yet to pick it up. I think Wheeler still has yet to pick it up. Like I think a lot of players on Winnipeg right now haven't played to what they're capable of. But I think when the players, maybe it's less of the Flames needing to get less hot. It's the Jets need to get hot. And when they do, I think the Jets have players that they're, maybe you could rotate whether you want to say Calgary 3, Winnipeg 2, or Calgary 2, Winnipeg 3. Like you could rotate that. But I don't know. I think the Jets are in the conversation with those top teams in Canada.
No.
Okay.
Why don't we just kick Jared?
Didn't you pick the Jets to win the cup?
He did.
I did. Because that's friggin' random. I could say like, screw it. Flames are my new cup pick. Actually, no. I'm sticking with it.
Can we get that? We have the recording.
No. It's still the Jets. It's still the Jets. We're gonna win the cup. I said we're. They're gonna win. I was actually we had their the one you have, the jersey you have at Pro Hockey Life.
You have it?
This close to getting one, man.
I love it. Like someone who was it? Was it Jared that said you weren't as high on it?
I don't like text logos.
Oh, fair.
The color itself is great. I think the color could have been.
I'm not a fan of the logo. I'm a fan of the color. Like I just like
I think the color is nice. Just in general, like a rule with me with any jersey, I don't like text things. Like I'm not a fan of the jerseys as we talked in length about last week. I don't like text.
No, I think more people are attached to the color. Like I think that's what more people are. I don't know about Mario, but
cool
like
too. I'm not. I like them.
Like my dad and I were definitely more attached to like the color of it.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous jersey.
No, I'm just a fan of the jersey, but I mean, I kind of want to get the ball rolling a bit. We got still some things to unpack here, including the Hughes signing, which just broke today before we got on, and the Florida Washington game that also unfolded a wild finish. So all I'm going to say to conclude this one is that, well, you guys actually did a kind of bonus work here, so I appreciate it. I'll give you guys some brownie points. You answered my question now, and my next question was who was going to be the best team come April? Who's going to be in that top 3? And I guess you guys hit the nail on the head there. I kind of appreciate the answer. And we haven't seen – the only thing I say about the Jets is the reason why I see Jared's logic. Right now I wouldn't rank them number 2, and obviously I don't think that's what Jared was doing, but we haven't seen the best version of the Jets yet. Like Scheifele and Wheeler have not done. They've done.
Kyle Connor's been pretty cold lately. Like he started off.
They've all been cooling down a little bit, and this is not something we are going to see from the Jets. They're sort of a hot, cold team, but once they find a groove, they can stick with it and start soaring. So I think we haven't seen the best version of the Jets yet. I'm sure we will, and there's no reason why we shouldn't go and bring up our preseason rankings, like you mentioned, Adam, where the Jets they still are a good team. It's just that they got to still find a bit more things. Calgary found it early. Jets still got to find it. So I think we'll just leave it at that. And I want to get into the Quinn Hughes. He already signed his. Jack Hughes,
his bank.
His brother is getting locked up here. He huge day for Hughes. Returns from injury and signs an 8-year deal in the same day with it just hours apart. The 2019 first overall pick inked an 8-year deal. $8 million AAV. What were your thoughts on the signing? I really don't know if there's much to say about it other than just basic relative thoughts. I think more information is going to come out as we learn about everything, breaking down, whatever. But Evan, what do you got?
Well, look, I think right now, a lot of people are looking at as an overpay for the first couple of years, just because Jack Hughes still hasn't proven himself yet. We know the potential is there. The skill just hasn't shown there, but by the end of the season, I'm sure it will. In terms of longevity, the pressure's on him now to put up, as I said to you guys before, he needs to put up anywhere between 65 and 70 points a year, because that's what you're getting paid to be. I think by year 3, it's going to, or even by year 4, it could turn out to be a steal. Who knows? The cap might go up because now they're adding all the advertisements onto their, teams are adding advertisements onto their helmets. Everyone's getting their brand deals back together. So everything's starting to happen. So it could look like a steal eventually, but, as of right now, he's your first overall pick. The trust is there. I think it was great to get him long-term, because then you know what his situation is. You don't have to worry about him. And sometimes teams would have issues. I'll wrap it up quickly. Teams have issues where they don't want to sign another player because they're afraid that they don't have the money to offer their rostered players. So now now the Devils don't have that issue. Now they know who their core is, and they obviously want to center it around Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton, who's there now for a long time. So I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it overall, because I think it could have the potential to turn out to be great.
And I think this is something that you sort of touched upon just a bit. It's just that I think I look at it twofold. This is a great thing for the team itself. And obviously Hughes making that money, who wouldn't want it? But look at the team. They got money. They're showing that the league in New Jersey isn't a popular destination where guys want to go. No one really wants to stay in New Jersey, especially with you want to go Adam.
One more thing. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
There. But I think the huge thing for the New Jersey Devils, I don't know if you were going to crack on this, the fact that it's 8 years is huge, because then if there are people that want to play with Jack Hughes, and he's a very talented and skilled forward, the fact that it's 8 years gives players the assurance that he's going to be there for a long time. If it was a bridge deal, teams or players who are in free agency might be a little uncertain to sign, because they don't know what the situation will be contract-wise with Jack Hughes. How will that affect the locker room? So the fact that it's 8 years, I think it brings almost like a calming tone, although the team isn't as great. But I think it allows for free agents to say, wow, I want to go play with these guys.
And it's a team that has potential. I think no one's going to disagree with that. I think these guys
have potential at every position, because I really like Mackenzie Blackwood as well. I think he has the potential, like Jack Hughes, to be a very solid starting goaltender.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to say about the money is that, listen, guys are going to want to now come to New Jersey because you can pay them that amount of money. They're trying to build something here, and I think they're doing it the right way. You mentioned the term. It's a terrific deal when you're looking at it term-wise. And one more thing is just that first-line centers, and I think that's what Jack Hughes is. I don't think we can really dispute it.
He needs to get bigger.
No, but yeah, there's still a lot of ways.
I don't think so.
There's a lot of ways to go.
Well, I don't think he can get bigger. No, that's what I was saying. I think he's a first line center, but I think his size is fine.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that wait in a couple of years, where the first line, what is the first line centerman money trending towards right now? You're getting him an 8 in 2-3 years. That can be
look at Nick Suzuki.
There we go. That can be 12. That can be this is gigantic numbers. But what I'm saying is, you mentioned, Evan, the rising cap, the advertisement might play a role into that. Maybe, and this is why people are saying it's an overpay. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know if you guys have thoughts, but just let's see how it plays out.
People might view it as that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
for
what
the first couple of years.
Exactly.
And then it's going to look great.
And the stats have not backed it up either. I looked at his stats, and I told you guys as well in the group chat. It's nothing crazy either. This guy hasn't put up anything major that him deserving this 8 years, but I think New Jersey's taking a smart approach at it and saying, listen, we're giving you 8. You're going to attract more guys to play with us. It's money that we're waving around to say, hey guys, you come to New Jersey, we got this money. Dougie did it. Dougie signed this. Jack signed this. We got so many things that we could work with. I think it's just a happy problem not really problem. It's just a great signing for the New Jersey Devils. And I'm really happy they got it out of the way. He was obviously going to be an RFA by the end of the season. So Adam, I want to get your thoughts on it. Then I want to really jump into the Florida Washington game. I'll start with you with that, Jared, and then we'll move our way to the trivia segment of the show. So Adam, what did you make of the signing and just the AAV, especially 8 years, $8 million? What did you make?
I think it's not a steal, but I think it's a really good contract. 'Cause like you said, the price of a first line center is going up, and it's someone who I love Jack Hughes' game. I think he's ridiculously talented, and he's going to be a 100-point player. That'll be my hot take. At some point in his career, Jack Hughes has the skill, he has the talent to score 30 goals with 70 assists. No problem. If you give him a good player, like I remember I saw a stat when they moved Yegor Sharangovich, Igor Sharangovich onto Jack Hughes' wing. He put up like 18 points in games. Like he's that talented. So I think it's a really good signing. Another thing that we haven't really touched on, the New Jersey Devils now have their 1 and 2 centers locked up long term for just over $15 million. Not a lot of and they're both young. Nico Hischier's 23 years old, 22 years old. Jack Hughes can't even drink in the United States yet. Fix that.
Why do you think I'm in Canada?
Not a lot of teams can say that they have a 1-2 punch that is really good too. I like Nico Hischier too. He's a fantastic two-way player. And I think they're just set up so nicely because like Mario mentioned, they had so much fucking cap space. They still have $11 million in cap space after signing Dougie Hamilton to $9 million and Jack Hughes to $8 million. They still have another 11 to throw at people, and they have a bunch of prospects. So watch out for the New Jersey Devils. I remember me and Mario again. I don't really like bringing it up, but we had them as a little sleeper team, and it's low key, like kind of the wheels are kind of falling off a little, but they're still Bettman 500 because even though they've only won 9 out of their 20 games, they're above 500. Go riddle me that. But yeah, I really like this Jack Hughes signing.
And I mean, you said the wheels were sort of getting out of place. I think the wheels are in motion with this team. Like they're starting to.
No, I mean like
this
year.
I understand.
They're not making I don't think they're making the playoffs.
No, the Metro's too stacked. But you give me 2 years, maybe. You give me 3 years. I think definitely. They're. You guys know that I'm a really big Devils supporter. I love talking about them. Like, I don't know. I think they're doing everything right. I think this Hughes one is a terrific one. It attests to what they're doing in management. The Hischier one, you lock up your 2 centers for 15 mil. Like you don't see that many teams pulling that. So I don't know. And long-term too. So there's nothing much to say.
They're young too.
And they're young too. Like this team has a lot of things, a lot of outlets to go towards. I think they're going to be excited in the next couple of years. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I want to get the ball rolling on the trivia segment. I think that one's going to be a fun one. And also Tim Beebs has to make an appearance at some point in this episode. So Jared, I'm going to start off with you because I didn't really get you for the Hughes signing, but this Florida-Washington game, and before I touch upon it, the Panthers, they pulled off a comeback in a thriller. They were down 4-1 heading into the third. Florida came alive and peppered the net with 24 shots in that period, which is quite outstanding when you think about it, 4 of which hitting the back of the net. They scored a shorthanded marker and a power play marker in the exact same period, and Huberdeau and Ekblad recorded 3-point nights. So I didn't really know what question to form for this one. This was an odd one. We sort of scrambled and put this one up there because it was just a wild performance from the Florida Panthers, but I know you probably didn't watch the game. What did you make of it? What do you make of the Florida Panthers never say die attitude? I don't know. What can I really ask on this topic?
Well, okay, of course, the first thing that's going to come to mind with a team blowing a 4-1 lead in the third period.
That happened?
You know exactly.
It's in the name of the podcast, Jared. Don't you worry.
Like, you know exactly where my head's going. Well, yeah, it just shows it's one of the hottest, or 2 of the hottest teams in the league right now. Washington's tied with us as first place in the league, and Florida isn't far behind. So, I mean, it's an absolute bloodbath in that game, and it just shows that Florida is a team that won't quit. And they, of course, were trailing by 3 going into the third period. But all of a sudden, a 4-goal third period, and they scored the winner with, I believe, 15 seconds left. And they're just a team that doesn't quit at all.
Exactly.
So, it was awesome. Good for them.
It was your segment.
I watched the game, so that's why I was like, I was like, when I heard my dad, because I was upstairs and he was downstairs, and we both like in sync said, "Oh my God," because the one thing about like Florida, obviously they don't have Alexander Barkov right now, but the one thing that I noticed while watching that third period, especially, is that the depth piece is really like Ryan Lundberg had. I believe he opened up the scoring in the third period, and then he also had an assist on the second goal in the third period, and then Sam Bennett scored to tie it, and then Reinhart scores to win it, and penalties killed them on the last 2 goals. But just what a snipe by Sam Reinhart. And I think it's just in the fact that not even Jonathan Huberdeau scored, rather him and Ekblad were the ones manning the quarterback on the power play for the 4th and 5th goal. And I think it's a great gritty win. Unfortunately, they were on the other end of some of these games last year. Florida was, where they were just getting smoked with shots, and the Florida Panthers had 26 shots in the 3rd period. So they threw everything but the kitchen sink at Samsonov, and what a great win on home ice in front of 7,000 people.
Yeah. Shots. Had to give him the lick, eh?
Sorry, I gotta throw something. Not everything's sweet with that.
Yeah, no matter how good Florida plays, no matter what they do, what feat they accomplish, there's got to be a chirp of their home crowd.
And all the seniors at Joe Thornton's compound can dap him up.
Oh,
anyway,
man.
He scored tonight. I could give him He scored.
Potter one from relief.
I was gonna pick him for Tim's picks.
My sister did.
Oh.
I should have done it just for the memes. Like if I actually picked that old fart.
Jesus. Anyways, I don't know. Do you guys want to spend any more time on this one, or you want to move it into the trivia?
Yeah.
Didn't even know the game happened tonight.
Go, Jared.
Could I add one thing about the Jack Hughes contract before we completely move on?
I didn't mean to get rid of you, man. I just wanted
to. No worries. I get we had to move on. I just wanted to add
2 week was mailed to you.
Okay. So I see a lot of people on Twitter being very reactionary of right now it looks expensive, but like you guys said, he's gonna grow into it. I mean, the fact that he $8 million is not breaking the bank whatsoever. Like you look at the situations Toronto has, we would kill to have a superstar player for $8 million. So it's a great deal, and I think he's gonna absolutely grow into it. But the one thing I want to bring up that I saw on Twitter is Mitch Marner in his rookie year has more points than Jack Hughes has in his entire career. So I saw that, and that was definitely something I had to bring up. That was really interesting to me. But no, Jack Hughes is a superstar player. It's I bring that up more because it's a funny stat that of course that's where someone's first instinct is to go, is to find the Mitch Marner comparison. So I thought that was interesting. But no, Jack Hughes is going to grow into the deal. Absolutely he will. I love that they got this done now. I think getting long-term deals is the way that teams should do it. Because I hate the mindset of kicking the can down the road, and then in a few years' time, you have the same issue of trying to lock a guy down for a longer term. So I think it's good that they got this deal done. I think it looks a little bit expensive now with the career totals that he's got. But he's going to grow into it. And the fact that Adamo mentioned, which I didn't even know, that they still have $11 million to spend on other players and in other areas. I think they're shaping up really well in New Jersey. And as much as it isn't going to happen yet, I think they are pretty close to becoming a solid team in the league.
And I mean, I've got a feeling Jack was looking at his brother Quinn when he signed that deal in the early fall and was like, this guy got locked up for 3-4 years, something like that, bridge deal, something like that. He's like, nah, I'm not doing that. And it's not really looking too promising right now in Vancouver. If you're asking me, it is not. He's like, no, I don't want to be in that situation. This is just a hinge, what I'm trying to say. But I think there might be a role in it. They're obviously close brothers and they discuss a lot of things together. Maybe this contract one was one of them. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing much really to add. You want to add
one more thing I did want to bring up, actually. The way that Jack Hughes announced he was returning to the NHL tonight was awesome. He basically, this morning, he woke up and he literally went, boy, I really want to play a game today, and just blew up Twitter. And everyone's like, what? And obviously he worked it out with his team. The doctor said he was ready to go. So he, of course, knew he was playing tonight. But he said it on Twitter in such a casual way where he's just you picture him yawning. He's like, boy, I really wish I could hop into a game today. I don't know what the exact, I have to pull it up to see word for word.
I didn't see it. I'm going to go.
But it was an awesome way that he announced that he was coming back. It was just such a casual, I wish I could play a game tonight. And then they announced 20 minutes later that, yep, Jack Hughes is cleared to play. I thought that was sick.
Yeah. He said, I feel like playing some hockey tonight.
Yeah. That doesn't scream energy. I don't know what does, but yeah, Jack is back, and Jack is back for quite a while. Let's leave it at that. Let's see what goes on with the signing, what people may give in the upcoming days, because we didn't get much time to analyze it, but I think we all hit the nail on the head, and I don't think we can go any more further than here. But where I want to go further is season 2, episode 10. I believe it's the fifth edition. I don't know. It's probably the fifth or fourth edition.
Well,
fourth
four
edition.
and a half.
4.5. We'll put it that there. The 4.5 edition of the trivia segment. And guys, I want to get right into this. This is a pretty. I like this one. I like my feeling. I don't got a bonus question for you, and I believe the score stands right now. I believe Adamo, you're at 7.
I'm winning.
I think you're
very
good.
not winning, bro.
I think Jared, if I'm correct, Jared, you're at 7. Adamo, you're at 7. Evan, you're at 5 or 6.
I'm at 8.
I'm going to Jared. Jared, you have 5 or 6. I'll pull up.
I know he's losing. I don't know what.
I think it's that.
No, he's right.
I think 5 off the top of my head. And did I tie it?
Yeah, you got 5.
Am I tied or am I down by 1?
You're tied.
We're
I
tied.
didn't even know that.
7-7-5.
Oh boy.
And just to clarify, this is the 5th edition of the trivia segment, so finally got that out of the way.
Well,
But,
are we counting the one that happened but didn't?
No.
Okay.
All right. You guys ready? This is
Hold
pretty
on, I was
interesting.
making the thumbnail. Okay, let's do this.
Love it. He's getting on the bread. I love it. Anyways, question 1 is coming at you fast. We got pretty we got treated to some luxury a little bit. We got Jason Spezza. He played in his milestone game this past weekend. So that was Chris's Jason Spezza, vintage, never skipping a beat. So I want to go in that same breath a little bit within the milestone. So last season, let's go back there. One of the best players of the decade, Patrick Kane. I don't think we can dispute that. He lit the lamp for the 400th time in his career. Which team did number 88 score against to accomplish this feat? Evan, you are first.
400 last year. I gotta remember the divisions, but
I was about to say the divisions. It narrows it down.
7 kids here.
Yeah, I gotta remember what the divisions were. For whatever reason, I want to say the Florida Panthers.
I think I remember this.
Florida Panthers would be incorrect.
I think I remember this.
Darn.
I think I remember this.
Hey, he's doing you a favor. He's doing you a
this.
favor. He's narrowing it down. Jared, you're up.
Okay, so of course he was in the Central Division last year. Off the top of my head, the first team I even remember being in that division, I'm thinking the Detroit Red Wings.
Fuck, I was gonna say that.
He got it correct. That is the Detroit Red
Fuck,
Wings. He
I was
scored
gonna
his
say that.
400th career goal against the
Wait, was
Detroit Red
Florida
Wings.
in that division? Like, I remember.
Yeah, no, Florida was.
Florida was. You're valid.
I
Okay,
remember it being Detroit. Wasn't it it was a beauty team?
It was a
no?
beauty. It was.
I literally, that was a guess.
remember it.
I don't remember the goal.
No, it
I
was
couldn't remember because I knew he scored like some monumental point against Florida because like it was all over Instagram, but it could have just been a sick goal. I had to remember like divisions.
And what probably will spark the memory for you, they were wearing for the first time the reverse retro jerseys. So you might maybe sort of get the brain churning a little bit of what, because it was all over Instagram, so all over social media. So you definitely know when it happened. And yes, it was against the Detroit Red Wings. So Jared, you got 1. You answered the first question correctly. Adamo, you got anything?
What?
Were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard you say something. No.
No.
All right, we'll go to question 2. Let's get out of this one here. So last week, I asked you guys to name me all the first-round picks from the Toronto Maple Leafs made in the past 8 years. This week, can you guys name me the first overall pick over the last 11 years? So that's since 2010. Damo, I wanted to go further, but I didn't know if you guys were going to guess the 2000. I think we would have been on this one for quite a while, but give me a second. Let me pull it up. I don't want to keep you in the dark here and say you're wrong, even though I think you're going to ace this one. First overall.
Can I just stop?
Picks NHL.
Wait. Oh my god.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So do you want me to go from 2010?
Yeah, 20. Start from 2021, work your way down.
Okay. So Owen Power.
Yep.
Fuck, went first in 2020.
Oh, I wonder.
Oh no.
See, this is why like you think.
Oh
you
shit.
know
Okay. Oh my god, no. Alexis Lafreniere.
Okay, yeah.
Alexis Lafreniere. Jack Hughes. 2018. Who the fuck was 2018? It wasn't Heischer. Heischer's 2017. This is embarrassing. Who the fuck?
Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna gas you from our show.
I'm
you're not.
gonna give you the 5, eh?
We're doing the Three Musketeers.
What? No, why am I blanking? What the
I'll
fuck
give
am
you
I
10,
blanking?
9.
No, chill. Stop counting out loud. Holy shit. Can I just? Do I have to go in order?
You're 2018, man. Yes, you're going.
The gun's in your head.
Who the fuck went
3.
first over? No.
Come on.
I'm gonna kill. It
Who's
wasn't
second? Who did Jared or I get it first? I can't Was it Jared?
This is
Jared got it.
I'll
Go back to
let's
video
look at-
review. I want to see instant replay
16,
now. We're
16.
going back to Toronto. Damn,
Oh,
I'm
I could do
fucking
the
gassed. It's been way too long.
No.
All right, buddy. You got 5 seconds. 2018. Can you name the first overall?
Can I get? I'm allowed to get the team or no?
No, what the
You should-
fuck?
no, you should know it.
Why don't we
Fuck
just
don't I
tell you the
know?
player?
3, 2, 1. All right.
Gas me. That was bad. That was so poor.
You
I could do the
gave it.
rest.
You gave it to Jared.
Do the rest.
Stupid.
You suck.
Jared, you can't
suck.
pass up to go
Suck.
2-0 on this opportunity.
Who was 2018?
Wait,
Okay,
so he has to start from
can I
20.
start?
You can start from 2021, 2018, or 2018, whatever you want. Start from 2018.
Okay, start from 2018. Buffalo Sabres, Rasmus Dahlin. 2017, New Jersey Devils, Nico Hischier.
Yep.
2016,
Bobby.
the man himself. I was gonna give a stupid answer, but then I was worried you were actually gonna cut me off. So obviously Austin Matthews. 2015, Connor McDavid.
Myself.
2014, Aaron Ekblad.
Oh, it was interesting.
2013, Nathan McKinnon. 2012, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Nail fucking-
Is it Nail or Niall Yakupov?
Whatever you want it to be,
Yakupov.
man, because you're real.
2011, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
For the last for the victory.
2010, Taylor Hall.
Correct, Adamo, man.
Wow.
That is a choke
That is
job and a half.
embarrassing. To be fair, I always forget about Rasmus Dahlin going first overall because he very shouldn't. It should have been like Svechnikov to
No, I love Rasmus Dahlin. I think he's gonna
over
be really.
Svechnikov. Are you crazy?
As a defenseman, I think Rasmus Dahlin is gonna the way he even skates. Like, yes,
Oh, he's
has, like,
fantastic.
stuff
Yeah,
together.
but come on.
Like I think
Svechnikov.
you could tell by watching him play, like he's gonna be a superstar,
Yeah.
even if it hasn't happened yet. Like, sure, there's a debate whether you want to be a forward or a defenseman, but like, I think he's gonna be a superstar. I don't blame Buffalo for going without him.
I was waiting for this question. Like ever since we did this trivia, I was like,
You were salivating.
really
I saw
good at
you.
this.
You
I'm
wanted to
really
snap
good
at
at this, and I just forget. I choked on the
Dropped
question.
it. You dropped
'Cause
it.
I could, honest to God, minus 2018, I could probably go back to like 2000.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly.
I was.
I'm trying to
was
think
a
if
choke
I
job.
could.
It was a choke job. Well, fuck. 2009 was
Tavares.
Tavares, Patty Kane, like Eric Johnson, 2007.
You're
No,
right.
sorry. Patty
Yeah,
Kane
no,
was
Eric Johnson
2007.
was 2006.
Eric Johnson 2006, Crosby 2005, Hope 2004, Fleury 2003,
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Kovalchuk 2002.
No, that was 2001, I think.
It was 2001. Remember Kovalchuk? Didn't Kovalchuk go first?
Spoiler
he did,
alert,
but
you
I
ain't
think that
getting,
was-
you ain't getting a bonus point.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just,
shut the fuck
we're just
up.
talking. Okay, do the next
I
question.
feel like the Zoom's gonna get angry at me soon, so
Fuck
let's
this.
go speed this up here. Final question on the board. So in 2018, the Maple Leafs participated in an odd event for their liking. We don't see this too often. The 2018 Stadium Series. They fell to the Washington Capitals by a score of 5-2. Can you name me either the name of the venue they played in, the city, or the state? I will accept either one because this one is quite out of it. Evan, I think this one, I was going to make at least questions.
It's not.
It's not an easy one, but it's...
Was it not in what? No, I shouldn't say that.
Evan, you got the answer for me.
Is it
I'm either...
Washington? Wait, but it was in Washington versus Toronto.
It was Washington versus Toronto. That was the game. If
You
you can
were
name me
going
this
out. Were you ever going to stadiums?
venue or state that it was in.
City?
Either the city where it was played, the venue. it's
Either or
called.
all of them.
No, just one, because this one is
Actually, I'm not gonna give it to someone else. I'm just gonna lower. Not even worth trying. I when you were going Stadium Series, I was thinking Detroit right away.
it was a Winter Classic. I won in that game.
That's me.
Yeah,
no,
you're up.
they played another outdoor, right?
They played Detroit.
Yeah,
they won the
Centennial.
Centennial game at BMO.
Oh, the
Field. I went to that
Centennial
one.
Classic.
Okay, I remember not watching this game because
It was a horrible game. Horrible jerseys.
Like,
there was nothing.
yeah, I do
I
remember
didn't even
watching.
realize that they
I
played
was at
outdoors.
I remember I was at like a confirmation. Someone's, I don't know, some sacrament or some shit. That was like at a restaurant and like it was on behind us. Like
Oh, I would have never guessed this.
it like
It's hard.
This is in the middle of
It's
actually
nowhere.
I'm gonna say the state was something screaming Wisconsin at me, but I'm not gonna say Wisconsin.
That'd be cool.
Was it? Can I get Canada? Well, you said the state.
Well, it was.
So
I'll give you guys the hint. It's in the States.
I'm gonna say in Sioux Falls, North Dakota.
North Dakota, eh?
Or South Dakota.
Hey, look.
You're very self in the answer.
Mario, it's not a stretch. Considering we're this place.
Yeah.
It was a District of Columbia. Fuck, I don't know.
Oh wow, these jerseys were ugly.
Oh, they were hideous.
The
were
jerseys
nice.
were
They were
sick.
the white
pants
ones,
were not.
The white pants were.
Yeah, I
disgusting.
agree. The uniform itself is just not nice.
The white pants were kind of a vibe. I fucked with them.
Just couldn't see them.
Jared,
Go
come on,
on,
man.
Jared.
Fuck.
Name
I
to
don't.
to complete the sweep.
I
First
don't
3-0.
have. I don't know. Could I give two? Like, could I give a? Something's telling me.
Can I give you?
I feel. No. I'm not asking for a hint. I want to give like a guess of the location, and I want to give like a guess of like an arena.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Dude, I would have never have guessed
You
this.
won't get the arena name if you can get.
I've never
No.
even heard of this.
The state
city
you have a high
before.
chance of
I've
getting.
never heard of this city. In my
The
The
life.
state
state is
itself-
like pretty big. Or it's small, like geographically. Jared's still going. Here, go on.
If you can give me the state, man.
It wasn't in Washington. Right? Like it wasn't.
I initially thought it was, but it's actually not.
It fucking might as well have been. I'm giving you weight.
It's like the Mandela effect.
Well, it was actually, it was nearby.
It was nearby one.
Hey, no, I'm genuinely guessing an arena because that's what came to my mind first.
Don't-
Something
I
started
don't
with Coors
suggest-
Light arena.
No, I would not suggest guessing the arena. You want to take one more stab at a state?
Pick a
State.
Just pick a state, man.
California.
Oh, definitely.
I don't even know my U.S. states. Is Pennsylvania?
Oh, you should
a
know
state?
this one. Yeah, Pennsylvania's the state.
Pennsylvania state, and it's not Pennsylvania.
Hold on. So he got it wrong.
No, it's
I'll give you
yeah.
a hint.
You're,
I'll give
you're
you a
wrong.
hint to
I
get
want
it
to see if
right,
you can get it
Jared.
right, though.
I'll give you a hint to get it right. Your favorite football team plays here.
Baltimore?
Okay, what's the state?
What
Yes.
state?
I don't know. I'm not American.
Tarps, man. The Tarps, the Maryland.
The DMO gives him the clearest one. It's Baltimore. I'm sorry.
Baltimore is in Maryland, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
But
okay,
it's just
I wasn't
funny.
sure.
It was Maryland. And
I didn't know that Baltimore was in Maryland because I don't know where Baltimore is.
Jared sounded so innocent when he was like Baltimore.
I don't know. I thought
that was funny. I thought it was.
that was
Whatever. I went 2 for 3. I'm pretty.
Yeah, you went 2
satisfied.
for 3.
Yeah, you had a good night.
In baseball, you'd be in the Hall of Fame, but
Yeah, in
right,
baseball,
in Leafs line world, you are actually considered in the Hall of Fame, considering no one's ever went 2-0. So, I just want to end it on that. And yeah, so going forward, Jared, you have taken a commanding lead, 2 lead over Adamo. So it's 9 for Jared, 7 for Adamo, and Evan Man's got to pick up the pace.
Well, maybe if we could do like Vegas trip.
I did put Vegas Golden Knights ones in.
Yeah, I got
As long
that
as
one right.
those are
What's up with
saving
that?
places.
What's up with that?
Anyways.
Like, we get more of that.
With the conclusion of trivia, that concludes season 2, episode 10 of the Lease Line podcast. But don't you worry, I have not forgotten.
The Bieber Balls.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes guy, no guy. Adamo, you got the hat on. I don't know.
Here's
I don't know.
my deep dive analysis into the Bieber Balls. And I know we don't have much time, so I'm gonna go quick. Well, let's power rank them. Number 1. Oh shit! I'm gonna start with number 3 just because there's a clear number 3 here. It is the white chocolate fudge. I'm gonna give them a cool 5.5 out of 10. They're literally just a chocolate Timbit, and I'm not a fan of the chocolate Timbit. It's not a bad Timbit, but it's not a great Timbit. Come on, they're overrated.
You're done. You're done.
Come on, they're not.
You're
They're not.
done.
They're not. Come
Mary,
on,
mute him.
They're the best Timbit.
But they're-
Chocolate's the best Timbit.
the best Timbit.
No,
Hey,
no, no.
Yeah,
I'm a
birthday
plain
To
cake.
be
guy,
honest,
I'm
it's the
worse.
only one I eat. So yeah.
Birthday
Come on,
cake's the
birthday
best
cakes
Timbit.
go, and that's why I'm gonna say I'm gonna go. I'm
Birthday
gonna go
cake's the
number
best
2.
Timbit.
I'm gonna go number 2. The chocolate chip sour cream. They taste like they're the most unique Bieber bite. Or Bieber,
I heard some of them just
Bieber
taste like the
balls?
same. Like
They
don't.
do.
That's
They
that
do.
was what I
They
was
do.
gonna
But
get
this
to.
one's the most unique one. I'd say I could really taste the chocolate chip. So I'll give it a cool 8.5 out of 10. And then number 1 is the what the fuck's it called? It's birthday
Something
cake
birthday
waffle or
cake.
some shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like the
Yeah,
no, I think that's exactly
it's really
what it
good.
is.
Yeah, it's birthday cake waffle. It tastes like birthday cake, but like with some cinnamon. And I'm a big cinnamon guy. It's really fucking good. So I'll give it a cool 9 out of 10.
Cool 9 out of 10 there.
Yes, there's my
For
deep
show, for
dive
show.
analysis.
Thank you for attending the
Bieber
remotely
Balls.
food review.
One bite, everyone
Do
knows the
you have an
rules.
opinion, Mario?
I think they all taste the same, like as the regular ones. Personally,
Fair.
my Timbit taste is very
Do they
off-brand.
cost more?
Yes.
Yes.
$3.19 for a thing of 10.
So okay, so they're not even like
Normally they're
like,
$149 for 10,
Mhm.
but the Bieber bites are $3.19.
okay, so like yeah, whatever. I'll just be getting regular Timbits.
Yeah. So you haven't tried them, Jared. You're gonna
I
try
haven't
them.
Well,
tried
no
Yeah,
shit,
too.
I haven't tried.
You need-
I've been aiming
Hey.
like today. I told myself like I'm going to Tim Hortons today,
Never
and
never got.
I
to it.
forgot. Well,
Yeah,
not I
they
forgot,
might
but I was
not
just
be
doing
there,
something.
buddy.
Then, pardon?
They might not be there, buddy. You got to get on that. I went tonight when I was coming home from work. I was like, well, I'm going to get some Bieber balls. And I went up.
I love how you just
I recorded
say
myself
Bieber
to all send it
Balls.
to you guys. I said, can I get some Justin Bieber balls? And they was like, sorry, we're out of them. So yeah,
No more Bieber Balls?
There were no Bieber balls.
I actually went the day they dropped, and I got there like 2 minutes too late, and they closed the doors.
Oh, that's
Like I literally, I got out of my bed, and I'm like, I'm going there. I'm getting
Getting
these
Bieber balls.
Bieber
Right.
balls, and I walked over in the freezing cold, and then they like were closing the door as I got there.
Yeah.
Freezing
And
cold.
they wouldn't let me to get that like triumphant like run through the door at the last second. They would not allow that.
Oh man.
Go smashing through the windows.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pleasures of living in a small town. Yet nobody's going for the Bieber balls. So
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we're also in downtown. We're like
you guys are in
everyone's
downtown. You guys got everything coming there. I got absolutely nothing. Maybe 5 cars an hour in the rolling
You guys
through the
even
Tim
have a
Hortons.
Tim's there? Is there a
Yes, we do.
Tim's?
Okay, we got 2
Oh.
Tims. Calm down. We got
Ooh,
2.
chill.
Yeah, we got 2. We're not that
Where I
small.
went,
All right.
there was
I
two
gotta
at one
wake up at
intersection.
I gotta
right?
wake up at 5 in the morning
This
tomorrow.
guy's this guy's Scott. He's on Pacific time, man.
5 in the
Well, 'cause
morning?
the creative
there's a
processes class.
tomorrow. Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta be up at 5 a.m. Rise and
Oh
shine,
yeah. So we should
bitches.
probably
Yeah, let's sign off. Again.
Right.
All right. Well, yeah, with the Bieber Balls discussion put to bed, that concludes season 2, episode 10 of the Lease Line podcast. I'm your host, Mario Russo, and joined by a great group of guys. And I appreciate all you guys' support on the last video, the videos before, and I'm hoping the video to come here. It's going to be a great one. It was a great one, and we have a lot of things coming forward. We got World Juniors coming up. We'll be getting coverage on that. The Olympics, if it so does to happen, we'll be getting you guys covered on that. So don't you worry. So if you're on the video, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. Click subscribe while you're there, and give the like button a little bit of a hit because I would love to see that stuff go up. But again, thank you guys all for tuning in. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you next week. See you guys.